Well, good evening, buenas tardes to everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today here in our council chamber in the city of Moreno Valley for our special presentations. And this evening we have two presentations that we'll be giving. First is a recognition for a program, a new program, first ever that we're bringing into the city of Moreno Valley. And just to say a little bit before I call up those that are behind the project and have actually put in the time and labor into the project. It's a special group that has contributed meaningfully to the city of Moreno Valley and Riverside County and California and many other states as well. But we definitely have a lot of respect, and we're very proud to call you, some of you residents, neighbors, and just folks that help to build literally our world around us. And part of that is not only working to provide for your families, but also giving back to the community in many ways. And in just a moment, we'll see one of those pieces of work personally. So the group I'm talking about is the Southwest Carpenters Union, Local 951, who have served the entire region with integrity and excellence. Their recent civic-minded partnership with the City of Moreno Valley and the city's Library Commission, and we're joined by our library commissioners this evening as well, has earned widespread praise and has resulted in a major collaborative effort, bringing together various community groups, stakeholders, to actually make this possible. And friends, it brings me much joy to introduce to you first from the Southwest Carpenters Union, Local 951, Mr. Omar Kobian. If we can give him a big warm welcome, please. And if everybody else, if you'd like to come up and join him as well, we can give every one of them a round of applause as well. We all fit right here. All right. Well, thank you all for coming out. I know you have busy lives like all of us, and you work and you have families to get to, so promise we won't keep you too long so you can get home and spend some time with your family. But of course, Omar, your team's outstanding service and partnership with the city and this project and many others are extremely admirable. And I definitely can't speak, again, I've shared a few things, but I can't speak enough about the work that they do. And I don't know if you can kind of see it on camera here, off to the left. We might scoot it over this way a little bit, but this is an exciting new endeavor that we're going into in partnership with Local 951. So there are 10 of these. Some of you may know what these are. They're called Little Free Libraries, and essentially there are 10 as part of this. We'll call it a pilot program. Again, this is the first time that we do this in Moreno Valley. So there are 10 of these that Local 951 made with their own hands and have officially delivered to the city. And again, this was in collaboration with our library commissioners as well, and they'll be located throughout the city. In addition, right now, this one is partially stained, but they will eventually have some kind of artwork on them. We're also getting the Arts Commission involved. We're getting the residents involved to paint them, decorate them, and figure out the different locations for the 10 Little Free Libraries as well. I definitely can't thank all of you enough for putting time into doing this. It's going to help in various ways, from education, right, the access to reading books in many unserved communities around or neighborhoods around Moreno Valley. And it's just something that definitely will be remembered for many years to come, and hopefully it'll just inspire a lot of people and help a lot of people in the process as well. So before I go on, I want to turn over the microphone to Omar Kobian to share a few words.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, staff and the City of Moreno Valley for giving us this opportunity to be part of the community. I mean, not only have we built them, but we're ready to put them in the floor in concrete when you guys are ready, and put a roof on them once they're painted. So we're excited. We want to help out all the way through to the end. And so we're excited to partner with the city and look forward to maybe this being our pilot group program to do to other cities as well. So thank you for giving us that opportunity.
Thank you. Well, thank you again, Omar. And again, these are just absolutely beautiful pieces of work. You won't find any higher quality anywhere. These are the top quality products right here coming out from Local 951 as well. So again, just want to thank you guys for making this happen, for bringing the idea forward and just putting your time into making it happen. So at this time, we'll take a group picture, and then I know our library commissioners are here too, so we'll take one first, and then we'll get all of our library commissioners to join us for a picture as well. Thank you.
Use all three levels, then get the taller guys in the back, middle guys in the middle. And we can actually get this in too. Yeah, let's move that in.
It's a little tall.
Yeah. I just put it off to the side. We can move it.
It's light, not bad.
Oh, yeah.
Does that fit? Do we all fit?
You right there, and you, sir, if I get a little bit this direction. And you in the middle, just this way. There we go. All right. And big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, and 3. All right, reflective vest. And 1, 2, and 3. Wonderful.
Awesome. And then, do you mind just staying for a second? Do library commissioners, would you like to come up and join the picture?
Yeah.
I know it's already a full house, but we'll make it work.
Everybody back on?
Yeah. Can we give our library commissioners a big round of applause? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. Good to see you.
Actually, Jen, we get you and her to switch. There you go. Right, there we go. All right. Wonderful. And 3, 2, and 1. And we're going to do 1 for safety. 3, 2, and 1. Wonderful.
Awesome. Perfect. All right, cool. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Been too long. Good to see you again. Well, thank you once again to Local 951 for coming out here and joining us and making this happen, and to our library commissioners and everybody else that's going to participate in this program as well. Truly appreciate all the work that you're doing. And with that, we'll go ahead and move to our second special presentation of the evening, which is a presentation to recognize the classified employee and deputy of the third quarter from the Riverside Sheriff's Department. And as we gather this evening in good fellowship, we're definitely mindful of the year drawing to a close. We're now in the last month of 2023. I know I can't really believe it either. We're about to be in 2024, and some New Year resolutions to make here pretty soon. But tonight we're going to recognize a few outstanding individuals that work here within the community in the city of Moreno Valley, around Riverside County as well. And it's definitely appropriate in such times to express gratitude for all the good work that they're doing in our communities and all the fine people who work alongside them for the past 12 months in particular. Chief among those meriting commendation is the dedicated team right here at the Moreno Valley Station. Day in and day out, our deputies and classified staff supply critical public safety services to every resident seeking assistance. And whether they're responding to emergency calls or engaging in vital community outreach, like the highly praised Trunk or Treat program this past October, which was the first one ever held in the city of Moreno Valley, and there were over 5,000 residents that came out. It was amazing. So hats off to the Sheriff's Station for making that happen as well. And at this time, I would like to call up Lieutenant Browse and anyone else that he'd like to bring up, if you could please join me at the microphone to welcome 2 other outstanding members of the police force as well. Yes, sir. Hello. How are you? Good to see you. Alrighty. And also joining us tonight, and the folks that we're going to be recognizing, and you'll hear a little bit more about them in just a moment. If at this time you could please join us at the microphone, Deputy Bowdry and Senior Sheriff Record Clerk Lori Radford. If we could give them a round of applause. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your service. Our city's safety and character owe much to public servants like those that you see to my right here, and we have the pleasure of them actually serving here in Moreno Valley. And so at this time, I want to turn it over to Lieutenant Browse to share a few words about the exemplary public safety leaders and their service to our community. Lieutenant?
Mr. Mayor, council members, good evening, everyone. Tonight I'm here on behalf of the Chief of Police, Captain Ken Reichel, to recognize 2 of our exemplary employees. Specifically, I'm going to be speaking about Deputy Bowdry. Deputy Bradley Bowdry started his career in service in 2014, and in 2020 he came to the city of Moreno Valley to serve the citizens of Moreno Valley. Of specific note about Deputy Bowdry's accomplishments is that he has dedicated himself in partnership with a mental health professional to provide services specifically to our citizens that are in mental health crisis. So recognizing the increase in pressures that are on our citizens and their need for compassionate and alternative attention from law enforcement, Deputy Bowdry has, in the past year, responded to approximately 500 calls with a mental health professional partner while on patrol. So for that reason, among many more, it was a intuitive and an easy decision to choose him, to select him as the 3rd quarter Deputy of the Year. And in a Sheriff's Department tradition, we have a pair of engraved handcuffs that reflect exactly that sentiment. It says Deputy Bradley Bowdry, the 3rd quarter Deputy of the Year. So,
thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, thank you. And if you'd like to share a few words, the floor is yours.
I don't know how to do a speech. Thank you very much to my supervision, Lieutenant Sergeant Radford, Sergeant Martinez, my 2 partners in the back, Louis and Mike. I've learned so much from you. So, yeah, please, Louis, Mike. So, yeah. Thank you for having me, and then of course my my family. Thank you for putting up with my personality and all my shenanigans. So, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Julie Williamson, and I am the Supervising Sheriff's Records Clerk at the Moreno Valley Station. And I'm here to talk about Senior Sheriff's Records Clerk, Lori Radford. Lori joined us in 2011, so almost 12 years ago, as then an OA2, primarily assigned to doing the traffic functions of our records unit, which is a very busy unit, handling traffic citations, reports, tows, everything related to traffic. Earlier this year, we promoted Lori to Senior Sheriff's Records Clerk, where she was responsible for helping train a lot of our new employees and our current employees. Lori comes to work every day with a smile on her face, willing to jump in and help anybody who needs it, public, deputies, her peers. We cannot do this job without Lori. So thank you.
And Lori, I do want to present to you this certificate of recognition from the City of Moreno Valley for the outstanding work and your service here for the community for the past 12 years to the City of Moreno Valley. So I'll present this over to you. Congratulations to you. And I'll present this to Deputy Bradford in just a second, but I don't want to take away your 15 minutes. So if you'd like to share a few words, the floor is all yours.
Just like to say thank you. Thank you, Julie. Love working for you. I love all my front office staff. Just thank you. Thank you to my husband, Sergeant Rafford. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And one last certificate of recognition as well for you, Deputy Bowdry. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I know it's, as Lieutenant mentioned, that, you know, as the times have changed, you know, the approach to law enforcement and government has had to adapt with the changing times, and one of those topics and areas has been, you know, mental health and those type of calls. So thank you for being on the front lines of this new kind of you know, world that we're going into, and really serving in that capacity. So on behalf of the City of Moreno Valley and my colleagues on the council, we present to you the certificate of recognition as well. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll take a group picture with the council, and then if you want to bring your families up and take a picture, we can do that as well.
Let's all squeeze in a little bit. All right, and we just take a little step back closer to the step. There we go. And have you, sir, just a little bit this way. There we go. Oh, actually, council member, just a tiny bit. There we go. All right. All right, and 1, 2, 3. We'll do one more for safety. 1, 2, and 3. Great.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Please, the families, any family members, husband, any wife, anyone that'd like to come up, so you can get a picture as well. Yeah.
Yeah, one more. Oh, one more. And 1, 2, 3. Wonderful.
Okay, and I think we have a few more folks that want to come up and take a group picture as well. Yeah, feel free to come on up.
Get everyone to scoot just this way, just a little bit. And you two right here, a little bit this. There we go, there we go. All right, and 1, 2, and 3. And 1, 2, and 3. Wonderful.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. Good to see you guys. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Congratulations. Good to see you guys. It's been a while. Alrighty. Well, can we give our deputies and police personnel another round of applause? Congratulations once again, and thank you for your service once again. And with that, we are going to go ahead and conclude our special presentations for this evening, and we'll be back in about 7 minutes or so for our regular council meeting. Thank you for joining us for our special presentations. Good evening, buenas tardes, and welcome to today's City Council meeting here in the City of Moreno Valley, joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City and Successor Agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees, and the Moreno Valley Community Foundation. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this meeting to order on December 5th, 2023 at 6:03 p.m. We will start first with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll go ahead and lead us tonight. And if everyone could please remain standing after the pledge for the invocation by Dr. Dale Lockman from Faith Southern Baptist Church. Right hands over our hearts. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And at this time, we'll go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Dale Lockman of Faith Southern Baptist Church.
Dear Heavenly Father, as we come tonight, we ask for your direction for our city. Thank you, Lord, for the opportunity of being a part of this great city. Bless each of the councilmen, bless our mayor, and bless everyone that works for Moreno Valley, and be with us all in this meeting as we decide important things. In your name we ask. Amen.
Thank you very much for the invocation, Pastor. That'll bring us next to roll call. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Here.
Councilmember Marcus.
Here.
Councilmember Bernard is absent. Mayor Pro Tem Delgado is absent. And Mayor Cabrera.
Here.
At this time, Mayor, I ask the council to consider a motion to excuse the absences of Mayor Pro Tem Delgado for health reasons and Councilmember Bernard due to a pre-scheduled work-related appointment.
I make that motion to excuse him.
I'll second the motion. And if we could please vote.
Okay, I'll do voice vote. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Could we have a discussion regarding these excused absences? Because in the past, we didn't excuse absences, and the only reason we would need to excuse an absence would be because if somebody's absent for more than 60 days without an excused absence, they could be removed from the board. I know that I was absent in recently, I think even in October, November, and I reviewed the meeting, and my absence was excused. I was sick. That's not a reason to excuse the absence. I understand we're going to be sick. We're going to be, we work full jobs. We're going to be away where we're going to have to go to work instead of come here. And those kinds of absences will happen, but there's no need to excuse every time we have an absence. If we're on, like, for example, when some of our members here were away for city business at a conference or at a meeting, we excuse those absences. But I think it's unusual. We didn't used to do this. There's no reason for us to have continue to excuse absence every time. It's acceptable that sometimes we're going to be absent. So I'm not sure why we need to keep excusing absences.
Councilmember, don't mean to cut you off, but I want to make sure we're not, since this is not an actual agendized item, we can add it to an agenda at a future meeting to have a discussion about it. But I think for purposes of the agenda and what's posted on the agenda, we should move forward with taking a vote as staff has recommended.
I didn't see this on the agenda.
If you want to have a discussion about it, we can add an item or propose to discuss it at a future meeting.
This is not on the agenda.
Or at least staff let us know about it. So just this conversation that's happening is not a listed item
Either
as
is
an
the
action item.
excusing of these people who are absent is not on the agenda either.
Staff has already made that request. So at this time, I'll make a motion according with staff's recommendation to excuse Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Bernard from tonight's meeting.
So it's a new
Mayor,
motion over the motion that Dave just made?
Mayor, the motion has already been made.
Yeah.
I'll
Just-
second the
Just a
motion.
You've
reminder.
already seconded it.
Thank you.
This is discussion regarding that motion
So,
and that second.
Councilmember, there's a motion and a second. If we could please
I'll
vote.
do a voice vote. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
No.
Councilmember Marcus,
Yes.
Mayor Cabrera.
Yes.
Okay.
So that passes 2 yeses and 1 no. So that brings us next to, before we move forward, like to.
He wants to say something.
Mr. City
Mr.
Attorney.
Mayor, I'm sorry. Since we have only 3 council members tonight, I just want to remind the council that pursuant to the government code and our local policies of procedure, there is a requirement that certain actions in order to pass require 3 affirmative votes, and those include ordinances, franchise resolutions, general plan amendments, orders for the appropriation or expenditure of money, and the selection of the mayor pro tem. Based on that, I took a look at the agenda with the city manager, assistant city manager, and city clerk, and we've determined that the following items require 3 affirmative votes. That's item A6 on your consent calendar, which involves the second reading of an ordinance. F3, which involves the first reading of an ordinance. H1, which involves the selection of the mayor pro tem. And H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6, which involves public art funding applications. So all of those items will require 3 affirmative votes in order to pass.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Appreciate the clarification there. So at this time, we did receive some requests regarding item F1. So before I continue, would like to make a motion to move item F1, which is the Gateway Heights project. It's located toward the end of the agenda, but I would like to make a motion to move item F1 to just before the joint consent calendar. And I'll make a motion on that, and if I can have a second on that as well.
I'll give it a second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. If we could vote. And again, this, for clarification, this is to move item F1 up in the meeting to have that discussion before the consent calendar. There's a motion and a second. Would you like to do a voice vote, Madam Clerk?
I can do that voice vote, Mayor.
Thank you.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus,
Yes.
and Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. So that passes unanimously, and we will get to F1 in just a moment. Please be advised that the city is currently offering Spanish translation services. If anyone is interested in the service, please let the city clerk know. La ciudad actualmente ofrece servicios de traducción al español. Si alguien está interesado, por favor, nos avisan. Before we move on to public comments, I want to remind everyone to direct their comments to the City Council, and public comments on any subject not on the agenda under the jurisdiction of the City Council. For comments on items not on tonight's agenda, each speaker will have a total of 3 minutes to comment. Just a clarifying question. At this point, could we go ahead and take F1, or do we go ahead and move into public comment on non-agenda items?
I recommend that you consider the public comments not on the agenda first, before you remove any items from the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. So with that, Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on non-agenda items?
Yes, we do, Mayor. We have 3 requests to speak. Seth Cox, followed by Fred Buñuelo, followed by Darrell Terrell.
Good evening.
Hello, I'm Seth Cox, constituent resident, District 3. I normally come up here with issues, but I'm not here for issues tonight. Okay, we're honored to have the rights and the privileges to come speak before people, okay, organizations, government entities. But we also have an obligation to thank people, okay? So I got 3 thanks tonight. First of all, the inaugural fun run, great job. Parks and Rec, I'm not sure who's, there he is, right there. Parks and Rec. The all the commissioners, council members, whoever had any involvement. It was great. We had a blast. Me, my wife, our dogs, we had a blast. So hopefully many more to come. The second event is Snow Day. My wife and daughter, my daughter and grandson was down from Ventura. They went to the Snow Day. He lasted about 10 minutes. It was too cold for him. He's a California kid. So, but he got his face painted. He had fun. It looked like everybody else had fun in the videos. So thank you for anybody that put that on. It probably Parks and Rec again. Okay. The third one is the result of one of my complaints or issues. I won't say complaints, okay? But it's a big thank you to Public Works. I came up here November the 7th, had a discussion or spoke on the school sign over on at Nason in front of Marino Elementary School. It was already in front of the school. So that was the 7th. On November the 15th, I got a really nice email, and I'll thank him personally, Edward Innett. Okay, he's an assistant engineer in Public Works. Recognized my issue, told me they were going to take care of it. So this was on the 15th. It was fixed before Thanksgiving. They moved the sign back almost 200 feet where it should have been to begin with. So thank you, Public Works, and thank you, Edward. He's not here, but if his boss is here or anybody else wants to take it to him, thank them very much. And I think that's an obligation we all have. When people do good things and they do the right thing, is they should get thanks. So thanks, everybody.
The next three speakers are Fred Benuelo, Daryl Terrell, and Bob Palomares.
Hello, everyone. We had an incident in our city with a K-9. I want to say that our deputies responded appropriately for the situation. They were told the person had a gun and they didn't violate the auditor's right. Once they knew it was a taser, they immediately took the handcuffs on and didn't ask him to identify himself. Even though he didn't comply completely, something the public can learn from this is when you comply, you won't get tased, you won't get bit, you won't get shot. It is the right to record in public, but the public needs to realize this and just ignore these auditors. The auditors are looking for people to view their video, and they get paid for these views. So if you just ignore them and they don't have a video to have you people watch, they won't get paid. Their channels will go away. One of the things I found interesting at the auditor, he's kind of like a hypocrite because he was talking about, I believe it was the sheriff that was responding, and he went through the stop sign. Well, as this auditor went to the police station, he didn't make complete stops at 3 different stop signs. So that was kind of an interesting thing that I noticed later. I want to thank the front desk people that handled this auditor later on when he came to file the complaint. A gentleman did a great job. Explained to them that it takes a while to get that information, and they'll get it, I think, as late as 20 days or something like that. The next thing I want to talk about is this abuse that they're alleging. I think people need to go and go to the experts and see what the experts are saying about this. The people that train the dogs, animals, that train the law enforcement animals, of what they're saying right now. Because right now they're saying that there was no abuse at all, at all. And it was a correctable moment for the K-9, and you really need to look for those videos coming from a viewpoint from the people that train the animals. Lastly, I would love to see our city council, I believe the deputy's name is Shane, once you get educated, make a public comment about this and say that we support Deputy Shane. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Daryl Terrell, Bob Palomares, and Chris Baca.
My name is Daryl Terrell. I'm not speaking as a planning commissioner for...
Daryl, if you could speak into the mic, please. Thank
Hi,
you.
my name is Daryl Terrell, and I'm not speaking as a planning commissioner for the city, but as a resident. President Kennedy once said, ask not what your country could do for you, but what you could do for our country. I'm here because of Eddie Batista, who's currently a political science student at Moreno Valley College and currently works here. Eddie embodies that spirit. Working at Lowe's with him, I got to know him. He has a strong passion for public service. However, Moreno Valley College could not fulfill that passion because of the lack of a career pathway to City Hall. It didn't stop him. He made his own path. And he would tell you that it was a struggle to get here. And it should be a struggle for any college student like Eddie for career opportunities in City Hall. That's why I'm here to present a framework in developing a pathway to municipal careers for students and graduates through a partnership between our city and Moreno Valley College. This partnership would be called the Moreno Valley Public Service Corps program. It would be a fellowship placement program for Moreno Valley College students interested in pursuing careers in city government. It would provide paid fellowship opportunities across city departments, allowing our students to gain experience, practical experience, and develop the skills necessary in various in-demand careers. This framework will create a pipeline between Moreno Valley College and the city-based career opportunities, which gives our students a real pathway towards improving their lives. They will become an intricate part of the city's workforce. By aligning curriculum at Moreno Valley College with the critical skills needed to be successful in a wider array of positions throughout our city. Through this program, students would have the opportunity to work alongside experienced professionals, gaining insights into the inner workings of city departments and contributing to meaningful projects that positively impact our community. Placing our highly qualified students at Moreno Valley College into pathways for internships and contextualization educational experiences in our city departments would guarantee our city securing the talent and the needs for the future. And by saying this, I met Eddie, and like I said, it was a struggle for him to get here. And I said before, we can create that pathway. This city, Moreno Valley College, can work together to create career pathways to jobs where you guys are sitting right now. Thank you very much.
The next three speakers are Bob Palomares, Chris Baca, and Roy Blecker.
Good evening, Council. I always love to salute our fire and police. Great job they always do. Anyway, what I'm going to talk about is an article that was in the Press Enterprise. Moreno Valley Unified School District names individuals as disruptive in a statement. The leader of this group that are being accused of being disruptive said that all we are doing is exercising our rights. We have been getting complaints from school children and their parents that they have taken them to the school district to no avail. The superintendent did nothing about it. And the superintendent made the statement that he has spent $90,000 in legal fees battling this group for 15 months. Okay. The year was 1997. That was the year that Mr. West, a teacher at Vista Heights, was accused of molestation, and now he's doing a 50-year stretch. And that group were members of MPA was Victoria Baca, Mr. Raul Wilson, and Luis Palomares. Fast forward to today, the present, $135 million when they didn't listen. That's what it cost. All those years, no statute of limitations, it caught up to them. And now they're paying for it. And they spent $90,000 battling when they should have just said, you know what, come on in, let's see what's going on. That's a lesson to be learned because, like they say, the past has a way of catching up. Thank you.
The next three speakers are Chris Baca, Roy Bleckard, and Genevieve A.
Good evening, community staff and elected officials. I'm here on behalf of myself, and my comments are my own. First thing I wanted to do was applaud and thank our public, our police department for the good job they're doing on Heacock and Hemlock. It looks great. Haven't seen it that good in a while, but I ask that we keep it up because this has happened before, and before you know it, it creeps right back up. But I appreciate that. I'm sure the community appreciates it, especially that neighborhood there. And on another note, I got a couple of carloads full of canned goods, and I decided to go around the city and distribute them, and lo and behold, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked at how hungry these people are out there. We got millions of dollars going into the city to help the homeless. It's the same people out there. They're hungry. You know, I'm not talking about the drug addicts and the vagrants. I'm talking about people. I had a elderly gentleman in a wheelchair, and I gave him some cans of pork and beans and chili. Man, he really needed them. I don't want to say any more, but man, he was hungry. And that goes for a lot of people out there. So with that, I wanted to point out that we're working on collecting blankets, jackets, beanies, muffins, or whatever they're called. And there's a Facebook, Moreno Valley Cares, I believe, and we can go on that. But on another note, I wanted to propose and start working on something as far as towing in these apartment complexes and housing places, what are they called? Like Moreno Valley Ranch and Sunnymead Ranch, where they tow cars. We got a lot of predatory towings, and I think we need to get and work on some kind of ordinance in the city, an enforceable ordinance, where people do what they're supposed to do, not just call the tow truck company and they're so eager to make a buck they don't even, respect the people's rights or the law. I mean, I had an incident where the protocol and the procedure was done after the fact, and apparently that's okay, right? So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm not gonna, dwell on it. But, I ask that, some of this predatory towing needs to stop in the city, and we need an ordinance. Thank you very much.
The next three speakers are Roy Bleckard, Genevieve A., and Pete Bleckard.
As Fred said, the professional agitators and cop haters were down at the County Board of Supervisors this morning running their spiel. And I will let you take a guess of who on the dais, well, you only got three right now, of who is probably either officially or unofficially officiated with these professional agitators and cop haters that are working to try and make us unsafe. You should pass, this body should pass a resolution. Right now, you should put it on the agenda for the next meeting. You put a resolution stating that the city of Moreno Valley demands that Sheriff Chad Bianco and the Board of Supervisors start funding the 1,200 jails, brand new jails where they're empty and have been empty for 4 years down in Indio, the John Benoit Center, if you want to know where it is. We need to make our areas safe. As Bob pointed out, not listening costs us, potentially, in one case, $135 million freaking dollars. This is not fun and games. This is not snow days playing. This is the reality of the life we're living today. As Chris said, with all of the government policies that we have allowed to create it, and we, the people, have voted for. We increasingly see people that are going hungry, can't afford this, can't afford shelter, can't afford gas, can't afford electricity, and getting worse every day. Some of the ones, again, somebody was very prominently supporting our governor, Gulag Gavin Newsom. $2.9 million from one person was just convicted of unemployment fraud during COVID. That's out of potentially minimum $32 billion out of the state of California and $300 billion minimum of the 57 states, as Obama said. That is all government policies. Government policies have been supported, and you should, if you had any integrity, ethics, or anything else, you should be rejecting right now. You can start by putting it on the agenda and passing that resolution to make our city and our country and our state safe.
The next three speakers are Genevieve, Pete Bleckard, and Donald Avery.
Good evening, council members and mayor. I'm here speaking on behalf of myself as an artist and as a resident of Moreno Valley. I'm here to express my heartfelt belief in the transformative power of art and the incredible impact it can have on our community. By approving funding for local artists, we are not just supporting individuals, we are investing in the soul of our city. Art has a unique ability to connect people, inspire change, and build bridges between diverse communities. When it comes to artist pay, it's hard to tell someone what they are worth. What I have learned with working with multiple muralists throughout the year is that the pay rate starts from $20 to $50 per square foot. Knowing that, please take that into consideration when seeing artist proposals. Murals may seem a lot simpler than we realize, but it's a lot of physical labor, preparation, and time. This isn't just about art, it's about fostering a sense of unity, pride, and shared identity. Your support for artists is an investment in the well-being of our citizens and the cultural legacy it will leave for future generations. We all agree there's a lot of issues here in our city that needs to be addressed. One of the biggest ones being our unhoused population. There was one day recently when I was working on a mural on Sunnymead Boulevard where a young man came up to me named Corey and told me that he really wished that he could walk around the city and see this art throughout. It's a simplicity that causes change and spreads love. In February, we all worked together to get this fund in place. I told you then that we were planting the seeds. Tonight, we have the ability to eat our harvest and celebrate with one another. So I ask all three of you to help push this forward, ask questions, be engaged, and give these artists the chance to express themselves in the way they know how. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, and thank you to our public speakers this evening. So with that, we'll go ahead and conclude public comments on non-agenda items. And that brings us to item F1, which we voted to move up to now. And at this point, I want to open the public hearing for the Gateway Heights 108-unit condo project. So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing. And per request, we received two requests in particular, one from the applicant and one from Mayor Pro Tem Delgado, whose district this project is located in. So the applicant is requesting that we requests. I would like to make a motion that we continue item F1, the Gateway Heights public hearing item, to December 19th's regular city council meeting. And I'm seeking a second.
I'll second.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second. Please vote.
I'll do a voice vote. We're having difficulties. Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz,
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus,
Yes.
and Mayor Cabrera.
Yes. So that's a unanimous approval for that motion, again, which is to continue this item to our December 19th city council meeting. where we'll continue the public hearing. So just for further clarification, if anyone is here this evening to comment on item F1, that has effectively been moved. We'll not take that item up tonight. It will be taken up on December 19th, and we welcome you to come back on that day to give your public comment as well. Yes, Mr. City Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, since the public hearing has been continued to a date certain, there's going to not be any need for staff to have to renotice that public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Okay, so that item is continued. And that brings us next to our joint consent calendars, sections A through E. We are now going to move into that, and all items listed under the consent calendar are considered routine in nature and non-controversial and may be enacted by a single motion. However, the motion to adopt the consent calendars is deemed to be a separate motion by each agency and shall be so recorded after the public hearing items. At this time, I invite any questions from the council that you may have regarding consent calendar items. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will now go ahead and move into comments, public comments that are on the consent calendar, and each speaker will have a total of 3 minutes per speaker. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on the consent calendar?
Mayor, we have no request to speak on the consent calendar.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So with that, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. If we could please vote.
Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz?
Yes.
Councilmember Marcus?
Yes.
And Mayor Cabrera?
Yes. So that passes, and the joint consent calendar is approved unanimously. And if you'd like, just to make things easier, we can do voice vote the rest of the evening. I know it changes things up a little bit in the system when folks are absent, so we could just do voice vote the rest of the evening. Okay, so consent calendar is approved. So now we will move to the next portion of our agenda, which is F, public hearings. F1 was continued, so that brings us to F2, which is a request for temporary closure of Grande Vista Drive, and we'll start with a report from Public Works.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, who's not here, and council members. The item before you this evening is to conduct a public hearing and provide the temporary closure of Grande Vista Drive, south of Bonita Heights Drive. The Pacific Irish Communities HOA reached out to the city and requested the street closure. Vehicle code requires a public hearing and that the temporary closure be extended every 18 months for no more than 8 consecutive 18-month periods. This item was recommended by the Traffic Safety Committee in October. That concludes my report, and I would be happy to answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Melissa. That brings us next to council questions of staff, and we'll start with Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. Melissa, I know that we have done this in the past, but I have never heard anybody bring up the cost to do this to the city. I know the city's gonna carry some cost. Do you know how much that's gonna be?
There will be some costs. There's currently a little bit of cost now, just from the fact that we did put some delineators up there to block it off. There will be additional costs in the sense of we are going to be putting a pipe gate, which is a more sturdy structure. I don't have the exact costs for that right in here. But there will be, it'll be minimal costs. It's not extreme cost, but there is some cost to put an actual more physical structure, which is what will prevent people from going up to the cul-de-sac end.
Okay, and access, the road, of course, it's a road and has to lead to somewhere, correct? What is back there that fire or police going to have a key for the lock?
So that is one of the things that we took a look at when we were figuring out. That's why we went with a pipe gate, because they can get, they're going to have a Knox box type access to it. So fire can get back there, police can get back there. Also EMWD and the college both have properties back there and facilities back there. So they also will have access through that gate. So we made sure and we contacted all of them to make sure they were okay with it.
That's good. Okay, thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any further questions before we go to public comment? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and move to public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on item F2?
We have no request to speak for item F2, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So with that, we'll move into any deliberation if desired by the council. Okay, we have Councilmember Marquez.
Just another question. Again, we've done this several times. What's the prerequisite to do this? I mean, to close these streets?
Well, obviously, we look. We want to talk to fire. We want to talk to PD and any of the property owners to make sure that whatever access they need, we can accommodate by what we're closing off. And then the proper way to do it, obviously, is to do this resolution, to have a public hearing to make sure there's no comments. On this one, we actually, because the HOA was very involved in requesting this in the first place, we met with them, we talked with them. We took it through the Traffic Safety Commission. A lot of people showed up for that and commented on that this would be a very good thing for them because they did have serious issues on that thing. And then obviously with this, it is considered only temporary. We don't want to do it permanently or get rid of that just because in the future there will be development or other things on the end of that street. So that's why every 18 months we will be bringing back an item as long as any issues can exist or we want the temporary closure to remain.
And the reason why we're doing this is, what's the reason?
So the reason why we're doing this is because there were a lot of complaints about people basically driving to it's a dead end street right now. They're driving up to the end of it and doing illegal activities and basically making a mess and a ruckus for that community. And they really requested that we do something to try to prevent that.
Okay. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. And if I may just expound on that very briefly, this particular cul-de-sac, when I was still just a council member for District 4, which is Grande Vista Drive is located within District 4. It's over on the south side of town off of Iris. And as Melissa just mentioned, there was a lot of complaints coming in, first from residents that lived in that neighborhood about various illegal activities that were happening. So not only was it a disruption for the neighborhood and for the residents, but it also was requiring a lot of law enforcement time, all the calls for service that were coming in, and we had to constantly be sending out police and fire, people setting off fireworks and things like that. So, this is a different way, an innovative way of trying to address that issue. We could either continue and have law enforcement consistently go out there, or we could just prevent people from going up there in the first place. So that's what this is about, to address a lot of those issues. So with that, if there are no further comments or deliberation, I'll entertain a motion to approve staff's recommendations.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. If we could do a voice vote or a vote on the screen. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Got it figured out. Okay, and that passes 3 yeses. Okay, next is item F3, which is a municipal code amendment, also known as omnibus, changing a few of our chapters in our city code. And we'll start first with a report from community development.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. The proposed municipal code amendments to Title IX before you this evening are intended to make necessary revisions consistent with new state laws related to housing, implement general plan goals and policies, and provide clarifications and cleanups to various items. Thank you, and that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much, Sean. Appreciate that. And that brings us next to any council questions of staff. Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak on item F3?
We have no request to speak on this item, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing. At this time, I entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations.
So moved.
I second.
A motion and a second on the table. Please vote. And that passes with 3 yeses as well. Next up is item F4, which is a public hearing for the annual action plan for program year 24-25. And we have a report from our city manager's office.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, Council Member. The item before you tonight is the start of our annual HUD entitlement process. If you recall, this particular HUD entitlement covers three particular revenue sources. One is the Community Development Block Grant, which is more formally known as CDBG, the Home Investment Partnership Program, which is more formally known as HOME, and the Emergency Solutions Grant, which is known as ESG program. If you recall, in years past, it is very similar to receive roughly 1.9 million of CDBG, $700,000 of home, and a little less than $200,000 of ESG. If you recall, these particular objectives, grant objectives and policies that are before you tonight cover and benefit low and moderate income persons. So extremely low is roughly 19,000 to 51,000 in income, depending if they're single all the way up through 8 people that would be living in the home. Very low is 32,000 to 62,000, and low mod is 52 to roughly 99,000. HUD does require that these particular funding sources be funded in the target areas, which in this particular case, CDBG has identified 33 tracts within the city that would qualify for low to moderate incomes. This is also the first public hearing of many as part of the city's participation schedule. There will be a total of 5 public hearings, 1 application workshop, 1 30-day public comment and review period once staff recommendations of the funding allocation is completed. The timeline is in the staff report, so I won't go through the detailed timeline, but I will state that as approval of tonight's grant objectives and policies, the very first item that is of importance to all of our community-based organizations and nonprofits as such is December 15th of this year. That is when we will be listing the NOFA, or the Notice of Funding Availability. And that particular notice will reference our new bid proposal software, which that vendor is OpenGov. We no longer use Planet Bids, so that's the one difference between last year compared to this year when you're looking at our objectives and policies related to our HUD entitlement process. With that, that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Brian. Appreciate the report. And that brings us to council questions of staff, if anyone has any questions. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
We have one, Mayor, Chris Baca.
Good evening, community and staff. The first thing that comes to mind is the issue with the CBD, or the funding for the nonprofits. Apparently, the way I see it, it's kind of like a under the table political move where you have this little nonprofit that the city has granting non-compliant nonprofits funding, and that is illegal. That is illegal. If their paperwork with the state of California is not in order, they cannot solicit funds and the city cannot give them funds. You're opening yourself up to lawsuits. Okay, on another note regarding low-income housing, okay, they recently opened one with about 80 units, okay? You would think, and common sense would dictate, if this money is for Moreno Valley, that the people that are getting into those housing would be from Moreno Valley. You would think. There was less than 10% of low-income people in that complex that was funded by HUD, that was funded by all of these. You know, that just doesn't make sense. They're about to open a couple more. You're bringing in people from Coachella Valley, from Apple Valley, from LA, that is allocated for Moreno Valley low-income people, low-income housing. Why are you bringing in more people? That is ridiculous. That is absolutely mind-boggling. I can't even think of how ridiculous is that to create low-income housing and bring in people from other areas, other counties, even other states. I wouldn't be surprised. So I think, staff, you elected officials should really look into the process of getting people into low-income housing in our city that is being provided by grants for our city, not for people from other cities, not for people from other counties, not for people from other states. Sure, okay, allocate 10, 15%, that's fine, but the majority of that housing should be for people struggling in Moreno Valley. The ones they're building right now are 3 and 4 bedroom homes, practically, condos. They're beautiful. And they're going to go to people from, friends of, this and friend of that, and relatives of this and relatives of that. There's something that really needs to be done as far as this HUD and this low-income housing and bringing in people, God bless them, help them, whatever. But if it's allocated for Moreno Valley, it should be used for Moreno Valley residents. Thank you very much.
That concludes public testimony, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this time. And at this time, I'll entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations, numbers 2. Or just to approve staff's recommendations. Taking a motion and a second.
Okay, I motion to accept staff recommendations as presented. Do I list items 1, 2, 1 and 2?
Approving staff recommendations is fine.
Perfect. I motion.
Okay, I'll second that motion. And if we could vote. And that passes with 3 yeses as well. And that brings us to G. There are no items on G. Next is H, general business. We have a few on this item. And the first one is H1, which is a city council reorganization, selection of mayor pro tem. And we'll start with a report from our city clerk.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and City Council members. The item before you tonight is council reorganization, selection of mayor pro tem. The City Council Rules of Procedure state it will be at the first regular meeting in December for the nomination of office of mayor pro tem. Nominations may need not be seconded.
And Ms. City Clerk, sorry for cutting you off there, but also did receive a request just before you go in through your entire report. I don't want to waste your time either. First, wanted to see, again, since there are 2 council members absent, actually our current Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember Bernard did receive requests as well to continue this particular item to our next regular City Council meeting, which would be December 19th, so we can have the full council in attendance to receive the information and take a vote on that. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we continue this item to the December 19th City Council meeting.
I'll give you the second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second on that. Please vote. And that passes with 3 yeses as well. Thank you, Madam Clerk. I didn't want to make you go through the entire report and then, we continue it. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. We had requests to speak, and we'll just carry them over
to the next meeting. Okay, yeah, so any public comment on that particular item can be done on December 19th. Thank you. That brings us next to item H2, which is review and consider approval of public art request for funding application, Antonio Martinez, Main Library mural. And we'll start with a report from Parks and Community Services.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. Excuse me. Yeah, before you tonight, you'll have 5 items. These are all proposals that were approved and recommended by the Art Commission at a special meeting on November 15th. And so we are giving an opportunity for the artists to present to you what their proposals are, and we are asking for direction from council.
Thank you very much for that, Jeremy. And that brings us next to council questions of staff. Are there any questions for staff for this one?
The only thing I want to say is let's get started on this.
All right, so seeing no further questions, we'll go ahead and move into public comment on this item. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak? Do we have any requests? Or I know we have some of the applicants here with us for this one as well. I don't want to jump ahead or if I miss something. So I see Antonio at the podium there. Do you have your controls and everything?
I don't have my controls. Yep,
there we go. Make sure that's working. There we go.
Okay.
Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Antonio Martinez. I'm a creative artist based in Moreno Valley. Over 20 years professional experience planning and executing mural and multimedia projects. My vision as far as these arts go is positive expression, liberation, culture, community, and the conflicts and contrasts of our human experience. I've worked throughout the Inland Empire, resource centers, youth centers, elementary schools, universities, colleges. Most recently, I did participate at the Cheechmarin Center of Chicano Arts and Culture opening, and also their Art Walk Showcase, where I did live painting and also read some poetry. I also did contribute to the Sunnymead Boulevard project, which was recently completed this summer, and I painted the Riverside Raceway, Speedway. That was my panel that I created for that one, if anyone's seen it. I was also commissioned by the Edgemont Community Center to create a portrait of the founder, Irene Kendall. The project that I'm presenting today okay, sorry about that. Bear with me. So here's some of my past work that I spoke of as far as the notable clients with UCR, the portrait, Bobby Bonds Community Center, Alcott Elementary School. These are all pieces I completed, designed, and saw to completion myself, just to give you some idea of the type of work that I create. This particular piece that I'm proposing tonight is titled Abundance Through Knowledge. Just a moment here. So Abundance Through Knowledge is proposed as a permanent mural to be painted on the main branch of the Moreno Valley Public Library. The created piece would sit at the south-facing wall before the entryway. The mural would center around the image of the vibrant, beautiful woman, colorful dress immersed in the book that she's reading. Beautiful, proud, profile set against the contrasting landscape of desert sky into the night. The confidence portrayed is meant to inspire, speak to the bold positivity, diversity, imagination, and understanding available to us throughout the pursuit of knowledge. This one is somewhat of a love letter of mine to Moreno Valley as well. I initially proposed this project about 1.5 years ago, and it was just something that I really just wanted to provide to the community. I feel the need for beauty, just like looking for flowers out there, and this is something that I think would provide that. So once completed, I think it would provide for Moreno Valley a diverse work of art, jeweled in a new perspective, visual representation of the knowledge contained within, available to the community, and meant to attract eyes and minds of residents as well as non-residents, contributing to the larger movement of public art projects growing throughout the Inland Empire. The exact location, south wall, facing the main, south wall of the main branch. So you see it both directions on Alessandro. Just one here. The amount that I'm requesting is $5,935. That includes the artist rate and all of the supplies that would be included in the process. The size of the piece is 260 feet. And again, title Abundance Through Knowledge. And I think it would be a great piece of art to have placed within our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Really appreciate it. And if you could just hold on for just a second in case there's any further questions from the council. Okay, one question from Councilmember Marquez.
Yes.
Mr. Martinez, thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
This is overdue, way overdue.
I agree.
It is. This is in my district, and when can you start if it gets approved tonight? When can you start doing this?
Well, I give a timeline of about a month for completion, a month probably to get things started up, arrange the technicalities that need to be put in place. I'd say about a month, maybe the beginning of the coming year.
Okay. Thought maybe it'd just be a gift to the city, get it done by
Would
Christmas.
be.
But, I don't. I need you to take your time and do it right the first time, right?
Yeah.
But I just want to say thank you very much. And again, it's way overdue, and your artwork is fantastic.
Thank you.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
very, very comfortable with you.
Thank you. And I'll save my comments for deliberation, but if there are no further questions, yeah, we could give him a round of applause. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak on this item?
We have one request, Mayor. Pete Blackard.
Well, I'm up here to oppose this fine, giving away of free money. Everybody now can come up here and promote themselves to a contract without going through all the rigmarole. You could see where the graft is going to go with this thing. When they first started talking about this, they just needed a little bit of money to pay for their deals, and they were going to improve the community. There's no improvement there. You're getting paid like a contractor to do a contract. You don't give a damn about the city. So don't tell me he's trying to get up here and show you he's going to do something. He's getting paid every damn dime that he's going to get, and he's going to get a contract to do the job because that's what you want. A lot of other people in this town did a hell of a lot more than that, with a hell of a lot more equipment, with a hell of a more time, and got zero. Did get a one-finger salute from Judy Nieberger, but that's okay. She's not here to defend it, but that's the way it was. So, yeah, you can get this graft going all the time. If he was such a civic-minded person, he would have said, you know, this is whatever it is, $500-600 paint and whatever, and a 10% for gratuity. This is another graft of making money. And then it's a way to shuffle the money, as far as my opinion. Pretty soon we're getting contributions on the other end, you know. Let's go Brandon. You'd seen how well it worked with him. I see it starting now with this. So I'm not in favor of giving out all this big money. We didn't do any improvements in Edgemont. Show me all the arts over there. What's beautiful over there? Yeah, they did put Irene Kendall's picture on a wall over there. I knew her for most of her life. I've attended her 100th birthday party just before then she died. But, you know, if you're going to say you're here for the city when they first came up here and told you what they were for, now all of a sudden it's nothing but give me the money, give me the money.
The next speaker, Mayor, is Roy Blackard.
This is the first of over $100,000 in proposals on painting murals. And Pete's exactly right. When this was presented and we were going through the Arts Commission, you know, we'll give the kids $500 or something for paints and stuff to do all this, and we'll make a project out of it, you know, and say, encouraged, don't do graffiti, you can do this. And the one they did on Sunnymead Boulevard was absolutely fantastic. Got no problem with that. No problem with this. If there was $495 and $1,000 for the scaffolding and the paints, that was what was proposed. Now we're going to go over, we've got over 100K in proposals of doing these things. That doesn't ring any alarm bells. Look in your staff report. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see the staff making a recommendation saying this should be done. That was probably one of the most minimal for projects of this staff reports I've ever seen. If this is supposed to be such a great and wondrous thing for the community, then usually that comes with a good glowing report. Again, we could make this, and this was my understanding of it. We would get with the school districts, maybe the college, make it an art program for the kids and that we've already got. That would be in fact, I would be up here applauding that. When you've got this, and I want to make this point, and if you want to go through the whole 4, that's fine. But these are our tax dollars, our DIF funds. However, we're paying for it. And people complain about, our roads or this, or our sidewalks ain't getting fixed and everything else. And we're using these development impact fees at this rate for this kind of money. If that's the case, we need to be looking at how and where we're allocating our development impact fees, and maybe we should take some of this off of this parks or public art thing and move it somewhere else that would benefit everyone. Again, I think it's a fine project as it was proposed to us, and if it goes back to that and we can figure out something more plausible, fine and dandy. But we're not rolling $100,000 worth of this, as I read them, going back. That is probably in the top 3 of all sorts of boondoggles graphs I've ever seen in government.
The next speaker is Alejandro Barwinko.
Is there Alejandro
Baronsky?
Baronsky?
Councilmember, it's quite all right. My name is Alejandro Barwinski. It's a little bit difficult. Thank you, everyone, for letting me speak here. I am born and raised in Moreno Valley. I love this place. And to make it beautiful, I believe we need artists. We need artists. These aren't kids, as this man just spoke. These are adults that have put their heart and soul, all their lives, into art. They're adults. They've made presentations. I didn't hear anybody else with a proposal. These guys actually have a proposal. They are experienced. And not only will it bring joy and communal service, just as music does, just as entertainment does. I think Moreno Valley needs this. I think we need to color this town. I think we need to make it alive, bring tourists, bring everything around here, and be proud. And on the library, how much better to get kids, adults, anybody to go to the library, to acknowledge it, to possibly enter and feel and get that knowledge and maybe create better things. Thank you.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So that'll bring us next to council deliberation. And I know Councilmember from District 1 had her hand raised. I just would like to share a few brief things. Number one, appreciate you, Antonio, for your presentation and for stepping up and bringing this proposal forward, because I do remember it's been about a year and a half when you first brought this. I think you had talked to another council member, and a year and a half later, we're finally here. So just want to mention a couple of things that someone mentioned that it wasn't recommended by staff, but this actually went through a process for the Arts Commission. So Arts Commission did all of these items that you're seeing on our agenda tonight, including this one, were all recommended by the Arts Commission. So that's why they ended up here on the city council agenda. So it's not just, you know, a short, simple process. It actually is a very lengthy process that the artists have to go through to get to this point. The funding for this is coming from Art Diff. This is not general fund. This is not general taxpayer dollars. This is Diff funds. Those Art Diff funds can only be used on public art. That's it. They cannot be used for anything else. So just want to clarify that for the record. You know, part of this is of course, because Moreno Valley, you know, we have maybe one or two murals, a couple murals now. One of them was mentioned over on Sunnymead, which is absolutely beautiful. There's another one in Moreno Valley College, one right here outside the rec center, but we absolutely need more. And the final speaker there couldn't have said it more eloquently, right? About being able to draw in the children, especially the next generations, not only to maybe become artists and create art themselves, but you used an example of, you know, just using it as an attraction, and maybe that opens the door to other things inside the library, right? So amazing points there, and I fully support the proposal by Mr. Martinez. I've seen your other pieces of work personally as well. I've seen them with my own eyes. So I've been witness to your work in the community already. And it is long overdue, as Councilmember Marquez said, to just spread more color and life here in the city of Moreno Valley and get more residents involved into that process, because it is a movement that's happening right now in our city. And definitely look forward to seeing it complete, assuming it gets approved, which hopefully it will. You know, and I guess I'll ask for one thing. You're the expert, but I noticed maybe some mountains in the mural. If you could put an M in there somewhere, if you could slip an M in there somewhere, that'd be great. But I'll leave it up to you. You're the expert. You're the professional. So 100% support your proposal on this and look forward to it being completed. So I'll leave my comments there, and I'll pass it over to Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz.
Those were the same comments. My questions were regarding the funding, where it was coming from, to say that this is what the funding was collected for, and this is not a gift of public funds, right? These were collected by developers for this purpose? I see a
Yes.
lot of heads shaking, yes.
Yes, and you have to remember that there's now a multitude of funding sources for our public art programs because we have received grants. There are also potentially state funding that is available as well, and now the Art Diff. I will say this, that as long as I am Assistant City Manager over administration, which means that every dollar that goes out this door, I will make sure that there is no kickbacks or anything that like that to our electeds. I oversee FMS, and I do take offense to some of the comments tonight. So remember, our audit is, from an external audit standpoint, is our financial statement auditors are RAMs. They are completely independent of us, and they do one heck of an audit on us and make us go through lots of hoops to ensure that we are meeting all of the GAAP and GASB requirements as required of our financial statements. Thank you.
Thank you, that's it.
Thank you, Brian. Is there any further deliberation or any additional comments? Okay. Seeing none, actually, we'll go ahead and make a motion. This is the first mural that maybe in many years that we've approved here on the council, but I'll make a motion to approve staff's recommendations for this item. Actually, you know what? I'll take it back, and it is District 3, so I'll let Councilmember Marquez make the motion.
I make the motion that we approve of H2 for this mural on the public library.
H3.
H3. That's good.
And I'll second that motion.
H2.
Oh, it is H2. Excuse me. It is H2. Okay. We're too excited up here. I'll second that motion. Please vote. So that passes unanimously. Congratulations. Now we have a few more items regarding murals. Next one is item H3, which is a review and consider approval of public art request for funding application from Alexandra Garcia for Gateway Park restroom mural. And I'll turn it back over to Jeremy from the Parks Department.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to clarify one more objection that was brought up. The reason you will not see a recommendation from from staff on these. These are strictly recommendations from the Art Commission to council, and so we are asking basically for direction. Either approve, deny, or give us further direction. So as we go through this process, and there'll be more throughout the years, you will never see a recommendation from staff.
Thank you.
Sorry. As you said, this next one is Alexandra Garcia, and the proposal is to paint the Gateway Park restroom with a mural.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alexandra Garcia, Moreno Valley resident and a public artist. I started doing art at a very young age. I went to Vista Heights Middle School and was in ASB. Funny enough, the thing I did the most there was decorate the walls for the school dances every month. So I would say, you know, I naturally just came into this profession. In Canyon Springs High School, I was in the art academy as well. And I was one of the only people that was like doing physical art because everyone was doing digital art. But anyways, to get going, one point I did want to make is that back in the day, you know, as I was growing up being an artist, I wanted my art to be seen by everyone, to be shared with everyone, because I do recognize how it literally just brings a positive attitude when people see lively colors and like artwork in their city. And growing up, I never knew about anything like this, so I just assumed that like, oh, you just have to do it illegally or, you know, do graffiti. And so I was like, no way, I'm not gonna do that. So then I just literally never thought that there would be a place for me as an artist in the city, and making money and like coming in for a check is the last thing on my mind. The first, like, it's my inner child that just wants to spread happiness and joy. And now I'm just so happy that there's actually a place and an opportunity for that. So I just want to like steer away the narrative of like, oh, we're just here to get a check type of thing, because that's the last thing of why I became an artist. These are examples of my past public artworks. I like to beautify park amenities because I noticed that after time, if, you know, they either get graffitied or just really, really like dusty and bad and dirty, and then people don't even use them anymore because who wants to drink out of a water fountain that's, you know, all busted? So I like to focus on doing, you know, park things, things that the public is going to use. These are more examples of the type of public art that I do. This is a restroom building I did. This building was a fence away from an elementary school, so I gave it an educational feel to it and tried to label all the aspects and included all the plant and some animals from around the area. This was like a portrait of the Mount Baldy, which was close to that area. And then this brings me to my proposal. This is the restroom building at Gateway Park. This is on Manzanita, District 2. And like I said, I really like doing the park amenities. And this park in particular, I used to visit literally all the time after school. We would walk here. And then sometimes on the weekends, there would be birthday parties. I'm sure if you go any weekend on Gateway Park, there's going to be a family there that's set up to have a birthday party or some type of celebration. And of course, you notice how they kind of don't want to like engage too much with the buildings because they're looking not very nice. So this is the park that is there, and I included that picture because my design is inspired by the playground, which is kind of like a rocket. So I made the design look like a space landscape with shooting stars, and then we have a baby donkey on one wall and then a larger like donkey portrait on another wall. And again, it's mostly like a space style landscape, and then the donkeys, because District 2 is very familiar with the wild donkeys. I know I've had them literally in our front yard multiple times. So I felt it was important to include that. And so this is my design. And this is the budget. My artist fee is $25 per square foot. It's 732 square feet since it's the entire building, which is 18,300, and then 600 for supplies and materials. And that's it.
Thank you so much for the presentation, and if you could also just stick around for a second in case there's any questions here from the council. With that, I'll turn it over to my colleagues in case they have any questions on this particular mural.
I don't have any questions. I just really love the art. I also went to Canyon Springs, and my kids went to Vista and Canyon, and I went to this park every day after school, so I'm very familiar with the area. I think it's lovely. So thank you for coming up with this and bringing this to us. Thank you.
Yeah. Ms. Garcia, I want to thank you. I mean, this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. I like the donkey thing also. The question I have is, this is going to be the total restroom, correct?
Yeah.
Like you had here.
Even the doors.
Does that include maybe some little faucets or fountains getting painted at the same time? Can you throw some of those
I
in?
would like to. I would like to.
I think that, and I think that would bring all this together. If there was some, I know there's some water fountains there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and if you can just, you know, with that cost, go and get those fountains painted up.
Thank you. Yeah,
That would look good too. So, but again, it looks great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Councilmember. Just want to remind council that that particular topic was not discussed at the Art Commission. For potential liabilities and so forth, we would want to rerun that through the Art Commission, just to concur that they approve that before we move forward with any additional art that's not currently included in this particular action.
And Ms. Garcia, you're not going to raise the cost, right?
No. Not if it's a water fountain.
Okay.
One water fountain or whatever.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brian, for that info.
Yeah, I have a few comments for deliberation after we take public comment, but I guess just one other question. Would you be comfortable once it's done? And actually, let me ask about the timeline. Assuming this is approved tonight, what does the timeline look like from, number one, when would you start the project? And then number two, how long do you anticipate it'll take to complete?
Well, once we get approval, once we get the go, I like to start pretty much right away. So I would say maybe a week if I have to, order materials online. So I would give it a week, and then I would start. And then from that, I would like to give myself at least 3 weeks to finish. But I can see myself finishing it maybe in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And another question too, I forgot to ask this for the first one, and the question kind of goes for all the murals that are going to come up after this as well. But do you have any plans at all? I know the mural on Sunnymead and also the one at the college for Rosie Cortez. She kind of made time for community members, residents, and children, families to come out and maybe some of the easier parts, to kind of paint a little bit. Is that something that you're thinking about maybe doing? Maybe it's the students at Canyon or Vista Heights Middle School, kind of have them get involved as well.
If there's opportunity for that, I definitely, I'm not going to be opposed to it because that's something I've wanted to do as well. I just never knew the logistics of it or if I have to get permission to do that or anything. But I'm definitely open to that.
Sounds good. And I'll defer to staff on that one, but just a thought there. And I'll save the rest of my comments for the deliberation. So I think that'll do it for council questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor, since you mentioned staff again, just want to reiterate, we as staff cannot change these proposals because these proposals are coming from the Art Commission. So if you would like to direct staff to go back to the Art Commission or direct the artist to go back to the Art Commission, that could be a different conversation.
Thank you, Brian. So I guess just for further clarification on the topic of having like volunteers or community members maybe help, is that prohibited as part of the application, or is that something that the artists could do if they wanted to? It doesn't cost any additional money or anything like that.
No, we can do that. It's just if that's going to be a standard ask, we want to go ahead and from a staff perspective, put that through Art Commission on all art requests, just so that the Art Commission is aware that ultimately their recommendation is potentially wanting to be changed by council. It sounds like you would like to have community involvement anytime there's art being done, and therefore, if it can be, we could also include that in the actual recommendation to the Art Commission. There are other certain professional artists that may shy away from that because it is their art, it's their intellectual property, and they do have a responsibility for the maintenance and so forth with it. So we could have some internal conversations if you would like to possibly create a standard ask for staff recommendations to the Art Commission, though.
Definitely, yeah, and definitely not don't want to change anything in the current application, but maybe in the future. And this is the first time that we're going through this ever, right? The city's never had a public art policy until recently, but maybe it's something we add onto the application. You know, like a question: do you anticipate maybe having a volunteer paint day or something like that? So, just a thought. But thank you for clarifying.
Mayor, just in clarification, that is part of the application process. They let us know who will be involved, if there's anybody helping with, or if they'll be utilizing volunteers. So my recommendation would be, if it's not part of the application, not to, again, not put the artist in a tough spot. If they wanted to do volunteer, that would be part of their application. But again, I would go with what was asked from the artist.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know that was a question on the application, so now I know. Thank you for that. And ultimately, it's up to the artist. You know, whatever, we want to respect their profession as well. Okay. So next up, we have public comment on this item. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
We have 2 requests to speak. Pete Bleckert, followed by Bob Palomares.
First of all, I would like to talk to the staff. I did not say the staff or the city was going to be into the graft. I've been a contractor, and I know how the system works. When you get the contract, the politicians come along with their hand in the back, just like when you go to Vegas when you get taken to a room. I know how the system works, so I was kind of offended that he even said that. That's the way it works in real life. So don't even accuse me of something like that, of any of you people sitting over there in the well. I really didn't appreciate that. Second place is the man back there, after he passed the first one, he comes around and gives me a nasty look and starts staring me down. Well, be man enough and give me the 1-finger salute if you're that goddamn tough.
If you could please keep it to the item and the
No,
piece
you
of
talk
art.
about people in the audience. Why don't you control them then? If they're your friends, you don't want to control them, fine. Just, you're right. You're God, you're right. First place is they're going to put this fancy thing on a toilet over there on Gateway Park and on there. Well, I want to let you know that great $1 billion park that's in the center of Edgemont, it's got a 2,500 toilet over there to be painted on. It's so glorious. So when you tell me about what you're going to do, what happened to Edgemont? Did you ever do anything for it? Not a damn thing. None of you. None of you. And Victoria couldn't get nothing done either, or anybody else. Because you don't like the town, you hate it, you don't want it, and I can see these artists don't like it either. Because I had heard them say, we're going to paint trees over there with some kind of thing on it, because there ain't no buildings over there that public owns that you can put anything on. In the second place, being called down, how many times this guy that lives in Edgemont ever built anything over there, or in Moreno Valley, or in Edgemont, or anywhere else? So don't start talking about this old man and what the hell he did, because I don't really appreciate it. Not none of you, not any one of you built anything. You're a contractor? What have you went out there and built in Edgemont?
God, I'm talking to you, right? I'm looking you right in the eye. I'm not scared of you.
Yeah, if you could just keep it to the art item on this particular item, please.
Well, I'm talking about this art deal. What have you done for Edgemont? What have you voted for Edgemont on an art deal? What art project do you have in Edgemont? Where? You're going to paint it somewhere? Talk about the M up there in the mountain? That mountain ain't even in the city of Riverside. That's in the county. So keep painting on there, God, and tell me how great thou art.
The next two speakers are Bob Palomares, followed by Geneva Alleman.
Good evening. Yeah, you know, these people, these professionals, they're beautiful paintings. I mean, wow, you got to take your hat off to them. It's amazing what they do with paint, you know. But the young lady that spoke earlier, the one that's on this one here, she was saying about she went to school, Canyon Springs School Academy, you know, because before I was under the impression that aside, or well, I didn't even know they were going to be using professionals. You know, I thought it was going to be community involvement, such as the high schools or, you know, things like that. But seeing these people, you know, being professionals, well, they're dealing with this, but can you incorporate community involvement on other ones that are going to go up or are going to be coming up? Because, I mean, that's really the spirit of a community, is to have community involvement. I know some of these people live here, but they're professionals, you know. But when you get the community, just like you get them when you go and clean the streets, you know, it's a benefit to everybody. So if you would consider that, using down the pike some of these academies, you know, from the schools or just that are taking up art, let them get involved. Like the lady said, she wanted to express herself, and now she's doing it professionally, but let some non-professionals under the guidance of professionals. This way we do have the true meaning of community involvement. Thank you.
The next speaker is Genevieve Alleman.
Oh, can I just talk, or is there gonna be? Okay, cool. I want to directly talk to Mr. Pete back there. Please tell me what city property is in Edgemont. I don't want you to feel like Edgemont is being left out. I visited the Historical Society. They invited us to come speak. We talked about art and plants. You were there. Let me know where we can set up a project, either if it's an event, if it's a mural, whatever it is, because this funding is for art. And so there's no reason why it shouldn't be spent. It's just gonna sit there. We might as well utilize the artists who are here today, who are willing to be the first pioneers to get up, because this is scary. A lot of these people, they've never been into the council chamber before. They don't know this procedure of getting up and talking in front of so many people, and to have somebody tell you that you're not worth what you're showing and what you are capable of, it's disheartening. So let's ease the tension. Tell me what projects you want to see. I will personally put myself out there and do this whole process and try to do art out here as well. So let's just try to ease the tension, see that these artists are trying and they're capable. Thank you.
The final speaker is Roy Blackard.
First off, let's get straight. I've said it many times. If you're going to mention something about us, Blackard, mention us by name. Second thing, every one of you in the well, every one of you the dais. If you want to have personal discussions about gift fees, budgets, count salaries, and anything else, I will provide the venue. We will do it till the cows come home. Step up, be a man if you're going to make, all of you going to make accusations, especially against me or my family. That has been said, sanctioned by this very dais. Now let's get to the tension. The whole thing, you want to talk about tension? This is what was represented to us. You were going to incorporate the kids and the schools and all this stuff. Don't hear none of that. Now all of a sudden that we're getting all this $100,000 plus, and well, maybe in this, and I didn't know, Isn't that what staff, isn't that what the Arts Commission, ultimately isn't what the council is supposed to do before we pass these projects? Which is not being done at any point in this deal. I want it done. It's going to be done. And again, just because somebody says graft doesn't mean illegal. You got to come up with audits and all this stuff. Again, if we want to have discussions about this, then let's have it in an open forum. I will provide it. So let's cut the rhetoric now, or step up and defend it. That's why you're having the discussions you're having now. I understand DIF fees. DIF fees are collected by fees from this body, from developers. We've had many discussions, so let's not try to put out to the public that it just was money that fell out of the sky. And again, if this is how our money's being spent, or our DIF fees are being collected, it should be discussed, I believe, because there's a lot of challenges in here. I want to know how many kids are getting paid, should be getting paid, and should be working on these projects. I didn't hear that, or well, maybe kind of that. Again, I understand it came from the Arts Commission, and what I said is, where's the staff recommendation? The staff is not putting a recommendation on, then why do we need staff? That's what we pay them for, to give their opinion. Let's get to how this government is supposed to work. If you want to have government work, we'll sit there and have a discussion about it and come to the best possible solutions, which we don't.
That concludes public comment on this item, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Appreciate that. So we'll now move into council deliberation if desired. And I guess I'll just go ahead and start. Definitely just for everybody, especially the artists that are here for the first time in particular. The council meetings, anyone that comes from the public to speak essentially, has the freedom of speech to say almost anything that they want, short of, threatening with violence or something, right? So just keep that in mind, right? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and you can, again, effectively say almost anything you want at that microphone. So just keep that in mind, because of course everybody, you might have differences of opinion and things like that. And as Genevieve mentioned, it could sometimes be a little bit, maybe disheartening, right? If you're kind of seeing this for the first time. We've been up here for years now, so we've seen our fair share of different opinions. But just want to say that I don't agree with the public comments that were made against the murals. I think, as someone from staff mentioned, I think it is kind of disrespectful the way it's being approached. So I just want to clarify that for the record. Definitely don't ever want anyone coming in here and hearing things that will affect you negatively, or anything like that. But it's kind of part of life, right? We all every now and then are going to encounter some kind of resistance. But to the particular mural, I mean, that's beautiful. When I saw the renderings of, like the colors that really pop, and then I think everybody really liked the donkeys. I love that you included that in there. And then it's not just a random park. It's not just, there's a story behind it. You have a direct connection with that particular park, and I'm sure a lot of history from what it sounds like. So I really like the renderings that you had in your presentation, and I'm glad that you're bringing this forward. So thank you as well for stepping up. And I'm glad, last thing that I'll say, one thing that really kind of pulled my heartstrings was when you mentioned that, I guess back when you were in school at Canyon, you felt like there was nowhere where you could go, or there wasn't a program in place where you could go express your talent and share that with the world. And that was one of the biggest things when I was meeting with local artists to put this policy together, was we need to give our local artists, especially from Moreno Valley, a place to show their talent, instead of basically just allowing our artists to leave to other cities to find those opportunities. So finally, we have the opportunity to do that here, and we're making it happen. So I won't speak any longer than that, but I love the proposal, and I 100% support it. Thank you. Are there any further comments or deliberation from the council before we vote? Okay. Seeing none at this time, I will entertain a motion by council to approve this particular mural art project.
I motion to approve the mural at Gateway Park by Alexandra Garcia.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Now we can vote. And that passes with 3 yeses as well. Congratulations. And thank you once again. So that brings us next. We have a couple more. H4 is review and consider approval of public art request for funding application by Patrick Barwinski for the CRS mural at the Conference and Recreation Center. And I'll turn it back over to Jeremy.
Yeah, Mayor, you're doing a great job of introducing them. So
Hope I'm not stealing
I'll pull
your thunder
myself out.
here.
No, you're doing fine. I'll pull myself out further.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. My name is Patrick Barwinski, born and raised in this beautiful city of Marina Valley. Went to elementary school at Box Springs, went to Vista Heights Middle School, and went to Canyon Springs High School. At Canyon Springs, I was part of the ACT Academy, which is the Academy of Creative Technology. There was where I began to discover my passion of being an artist. I had a very impactful teacher named Ben Nicosia, who pretty much showed me what graphic design was and being an artist was, and I thank him for me standing here today presenting. With that being said, my life's work and passion is bringing my art to life visually, emotionally, and historically. Over the past 15 years, I've been creating public and private art for cities and brands around the world. I strive to give brands a breath of fresh air by enhancing its DNA and making it recognizable, unforgettable, and tangible at all touchpoints of its coexistence. My expert zone as an artist includes mural painting, digital illustrations, identity and packaging design, and branding consultation. Some of my sample works have been a mural that I did recently in the city of Henderson in Las Vegas, Nevada, titled "There's No Place Like Home." Some of you might be aware, city of Riverside, this one's called How to Fly. It's in a downtown alley called the Mariposa Alley, and it's about 2,500 square foot. Here are some sample images of the project. This project is a huge alley, so these pictures kind of don't do it justice. But as you can see right there, from one wall all the way to the other wall. Dreams, this was a mural that I did inside of it was a live painting actually. A little bit kind of like How to Fly, Riverside. And this is one that I did overseas, where we partnered up with Jose Cuervo, and we took over a bar and rebranded the bar. So those are just a little bit of samples work of what I've done, so you can see the quality and type. This is actually one I have in progress right now in the city of Indio. It's for Loma Linda Children's Hospital. And the project, the reason why I'm standing here today, I'm proposing this project for the Marina Valley Conference and Recreation Center. This is the wall that I'm actually presenting. It's going to be from the edge all the way to the other edge. As you can see right there, in the pictures it looks small, but when you actually walk up to it, it's huge. And before I start any project, I like to do a deep dive into like inspiration. Me actually being from Marina Valley, I thought about a lot of what Marina Valley means to me, historical events that have happened throughout my life, and what I think others like me would like to see in the city. So with that being said, these are words that I came up with: culture, hope, community, education, love, history, arts, modern, friendly, growth, progress, health, nature, and people. The main 3 words that I stuck with were community, arts, and progress. So am I able to walk up and give you guys this paper?
Sure thing.
Maybe hold one at the podium.
Thank you.
Hold one at the podium for the viewers at home.
Do you have
Take
one
this
more
one.
of these?
We'll share. We'll be on screen.
Thank you.
So like I said, as I thought about the history of Moreno Valley, a lot of things that come into mind, and one of the first things I wanted to represent in the mural was the Riverside International Raceway. So that kind of starts the mural off on the left side. And then as you go down, I wanted to represent the wildlife, the donkeys that you see every day, at least at my house. That's the second part of the mural. The third part is the Box Springs Mountain with the iconic M. That represents a landscape. The agriculture, then the citrus grows. And then the birth of the city, which is 1984, if I'm not mistaken. And then March Air Force Base. I have many, many memories growing up with my dad, who was in the Air Force in Peru. He's no longer with us, but I have memories of definitely going to the March Air Force Base and seeing the flights or the shows that they had, the air shows. And that's just a huge soft spot in my heart. And then also wanted to pay respect to the early settlers that I can't know if I pronounce this right, but I think the Shoshones. And that kind of ends the mural. So when you put the mural together, it's kind of like a timeline, a history of iconic events that have happened throughout the life of Moreno Valley as a city. And doing it in such a way where it's aesthetically pleasing, but also attractive for all walks of life, whether you're a young kid or an adult. I believe one part of this mural will be able to grab your attention. Here's a mock-up of what it would actually look like on the wall. Like I said, it looks small here, but if you actually walk up there, it's pretty big. Now, this wall is huge. If I'm not mistaken, it's 2,835 square foot. With that being said, this is my itemized budget. The total comes out to $69,500. Comes about $24 per square foot. And I can guarantee you, any resources spent on this would be spent wisely. All resources used for completing the mural project will be used on the highest quality of products to help secure the longevity of the mural, as well as the efficiency in the process of completion. Thank you very much, and thanks for having me here today and being part of a childhood dream that I've had of always being an artist and being able to paint for the city of Moreno Valley.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Appreciate the presentation. And that'll bring us next to council questions of staff or Mr. Barwinski. Are there any questions? I have a couple comments, so I'll save them for deliberation. But thank you again for that presentation. So next up, we have public comment. Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak on this item?
We have one request to speak, Pete Bleckard.
Well, as far as any public buildings over there in Edgemont, this city would not dare own any property over there. They're sick of that town. So let's get that right out of the deal, so you can't paint anything. But we're, a bunch of us way back built a park on the Riverside Raceway at the corner of Day and Cottonwood, which is not there no more. It's a big hole in the ground. So if you want to paint something for Edgemont, paint it in the bottom of that catch basin. That's about as good as the paint is in Edgemont. So nobody gives a damn about Edgemont, no, ever. So any people want to talk about it, There's no park. There's nothing there. So don't try to gig it. Now, as far as that picture of Riverside Raceway, I know exactly what that is. I started working there before it got started, it was ever built. We used to go out there and run around there when it was just a vacant field. And while they were building the track back in 1955, when they started building the damn thing, and they opened it up in 1957, and I worked there, cut school, and worked there that first race. So I know about that place. I know real about that place because I spent a hell of a lot of time racing on the damn thing, besides testing cars there and every other thing we ever did. So that track was a lot to me. So I really don't need to be showing that Riverside Raceway was something, because it really wasn't into the city till after 2 years after we were a city, that whole property. That goes to another history thing. But as far as Riverside Raceway part there, that's fine. Finally, somebody did recognize there was something there. But yeah, I spent my time there. Did real well. Had a lot of fun. Sad that it had to go away. But yeah, try to paint something on one of them pieces of blacktop out there. So I'm against it with $100,000 we're spending on this. It's ridiculous.
The final speaker is Roy Blecker.
Mr. Mayor, I would appreciate you not putting words, at least in my mouth. Did not come up here one time and say it was against the murals. I'm questioning the process that we are using. Why, and this is a little education for those that in the artist community that don't do that, why wasn't this brought before a study session before this body? Oh, well, we would schedule it against, like the next week, against the 2 school districts. So we couldn't be here. Why wasn't this put to discussion? Maybe a little suggestion here. Where's the cooperation that was going on between everyone on this? Where was the open public discussion and bring in the community and get your community support to do this, or maybe come up with a better idea? Because as I heard Mr. Jeremy say, you're voting on the proposal that was put in front of you. But you have, as he mentioned, you could have brought this back for further discussion. That's not happening. It's, we want it this way, and it's going this way. We don't care about what anybody else says in the community or any other input. Again, when you're spending this one, 70 grand, just on this one, when you're spending that kind of money on that, and especially when we, the public, were made under the impression that our youth were going to be really involved in this whole process. Well, you know, maybe we can and think about, and that's not good enough. That's not what was projected. And I would like to know, was I not clear? Because I hope I'm crystal clear now. I never said was opposed to the murals. What I am questioning is the process that we went to get to this point. And again, for you and everybody in the audience, where's the cooperation? Where's the maybe from the artists after they're hearing this? Well, maybe we could put this off of that and have a little discussion about it. Nope. Not hearing that. Well, after it's all done, well, maybe we'll have a discussion. After the fact is usually too late. So again, let it roll. We'll see.
And Madam Clerk, do we have any other requests to speak?
We have one left, Genevieve Alleman.
Okay, so I just want to invite everyone to the Arts Commission meeting so that everyone is able to attend, can come in. You can give your input. This is when the artists come up with the proposals. So if you have something you might want to add, you want to ask them questions, things like that, you are more than welcome to come in and talk to the artist yourself, talk to the Arts Commission, let us know what you want to see, what would you like to see in the future, things like that. If you want more like volunteering aspects, I know there's a lot of artists these next few months who are going to have that planned into their proposal. These personal ones that I see right here, a lot of them are using spray paint. I don't think it's a good idea to give kids spray paint, in my opinion. So yeah, you guys are all welcome to come to the Arts Commission meetings. It's on the 4th Wednesday of each month. I believe that this month it's going to be December 20th, if I'm not mistaken. Jeremy, he'll clear that up afterwards. But yeah, you guys are all welcome to come to the meetings and give your input. So thank you.
That concludes public comment on this item, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk, and thank you to our public speakers as well. So that now brings us to deliberation from the council. Are there any comments for this particular item? Okay, so just want to real briefly thank you as well, Patrick, for bringing this. Absolutely amazing, and thank you for sharing essentially your resume, right? I didn't know you were also Canyon Springs, and you had that full background here in the city. So again, I love that there's a story behind it. That's always really nice because there's that added touch to it. You know, it's a personal thing. You're putting your heart and your soul into this piece. And just last thing. In terms of the square footage, I know Patrick mentioned it briefly. It's about 2,800 square feet or so. For those who may not be familiar, most houses are probably around more or less 2,000 square feet or so. Most single-family homes, depending on when it was built and things like that. But this mural is going to be bigger than the floor space of a house. Just think about it. It's huge. Like Patrick said, in the picture, it looks small, but this is huge. This is a huge mural. A lot of time and effort goes into this. So I love it. I support it. And thank you for bringing this forward as well. So if there are no further comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve staff.
Actually, I have a question. Regarding the square footage, it looked like a lot of blank space on the top. Is that included in the cost? Is the entire, or will that top space be painted as well? Can you come to the mic so we could?
So we could leave it as cement or we could have it a solid color, but I am going to be applying an anti-graffiti coat over the whole mural. So that's kind of weighing out for the blank space.
Okay, thank you. And other than that, I think that this mural being so close to City Hall and capturing the raceway, just a lot of Moreno Valley. I think it's really good placement for that type of mural where we're pulling together the whole city and here at the CRC. So I look forward to seeing this come to fruition, and especially here in D1. So thank you for your thought. Thank you for your proposal. And motion, I'm ready to motion.
I think Councilman Marquez has a
real quick. How long will this take? The whole project, how long will it take?
We're all excited to see it.
So like I said, I'm currently working on the Loma Linda one as we speak from probably January, February. So as soon as I finish that one, I'm jumping into this one if it gets obviously approved. So hopefully beginning of spring, which is going to give me a better favor of weather as well. Because if it's raining, especially being on that big of a wall on a scissor lift is pretty dangerous. So yeah, it would probably be early March, around that time. And it would take about a month and a half to 2 months. I mean, every day working.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. So if there are no further comments, I'll entertain that motion to approve this mural.
Motion to approve the mural for the CRC.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and a second, and we'll go ahead and vote. That is also approved with 3 yeses. Congratulations. And that brings us to our next item under H, which is H5. And H5, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Jeremy to take it away.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. Excuse me, H5 is another mural. This is from Shane Mitchell for West Bluff Park Restroom. and this one is 560 square feet.
Good evening. Welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. My name is Shane Mitchell. I have a 8-year professional training for being an artist. I graduated from Cal State University San Bernardino in 2018 and have been a full-time artist ever since. So ever since then, I've been doing traditional paintings. It's technically called fine art. It's just when you usually just paint on the canvas, and then it's intended for galleries. But for the past 5 years, I've been doing mural work. And as you see, this is one of the recent murals I have done. And doing my fine art studies, I have developed a specific style that I've been consistently doing. And it's abstract art, basically. So it doesn't pertain to anything representational, which allows mostly everybody, every human basically, to have their own unique experience with it. So it doesn't exclude anybody. And that's why I personally like abstract art and pursued in that. So these are two paintings that I've had for a couple years now, actually, and I've displayed them in like 3 or 4 galleries already around Inland Empire. And then that brings me to my public work, which I've been doing for around 5 years or so. So this is one I just finished in Claremont, which also is the same style that I just showed you. And I utilize mostly bright gradient colors with values to kind of make it pop out even more. So it becomes almost like a sculpture, a part of the environment. And then here's another one in Pomona, actually, that I did that's also in a park. So it's consistently, my work's been consistently in parks. And I have first-handedly experienced a community outreach with these. While doing my murals, I encounter a handful of people that come up to me, complete strangers, and I end up meeting them and learning about them. So I do first-handedly experience what art can do and the power of art to bring people together. I think this is another one. Oh, this is another angle of that same mural. Yeah, so it's kind of the same exactly. So for this mural, it's going to be, I'm proposing it in West Bluff Park, and it's going to be also wrapped around the entire building. And I am going to stay consistent with my style because I think it basically beautifies it in the most possible way. And I do want to include a symbolic, the iconic element of Moreno Valley in the back, which kind of brings it all together and grounds it to the city. And I'm also going to be painting on the inside a little bit, just to kind of peek through. As you can see in the door, there's some work done also. So there'll be 2 different environments that you'll kind of be able to experience there. Yeah, that's mostly it for the mural. I put it all together like that. And then here's the budget. I'm also charging $25 per square foot, and it comes out to $14,000, and then supplies $700.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much for that presentation, Shane, right? Did I get it right?
Thank you.
Okay, Shane, thank you for that. Appreciate it. And I'll turn to my colleagues here in case there's any questions for this particular project. Okay. Don't see any, or we might have a question here. Okay. It looks like we don't have any questions for now, so thank you again for that.
Thank you.
We'll call you back in case we have any other questions. Thank you. Madam Clerk, I'll turn over to you. Do we have any requests to speak on this item?
We have one request to speak, Pete Bleckard.
Well, Mayor, I see you like to always talk about all your graduates from Moreno Valley High Schools. They're your alma maters. That takes a shot at me because I didn't get to graduate from any Moreno Valley High Schools because there was no goddamn high schools here. You spent sixth grade and then went to Riverside. I did get to serve my sentence down there at Terracina Tech with 12 years, a 12-year sentence, which I completed, which people call a graduate. I thought it was a sentence, but that's my opinion. So take another shot at me, Mayor. Only Moreno Valley High School people. We suffered out here. We were called scummy meat and trash and everything else from the Riverside people. So I don't want to hear your story about all the great graduates. We're just as damn important as all the people that got here. The only reason you got here because there's enough people to put the money to build schools. It was tough out here when you had to go up and down that damn grade for 6 damn years. So all these artists and everything, they're boo-hooing. You're spending all this kind of money. I ain't against their art. Art's pretty. I'm against the money. And I want to make it damn sure straight. I'm against that kind of money being paid. That was what, when they got here and when they were over to Historical Society, they were all for the community. But that ain't what it's all about. It's all about the money. We got to have the money. So don't tell me that they're doing it out of the gracious of their heart. They're making money. If they weren't making no money, they wouldn't do nothing. Do volunteer work. I hope they try to challenge me on what was done in this town. Because I can go list lots of stuff, but you don't give a damn about that, Mayor. Like I elevated to God because you're so superior. So keep taking your shots at me, and you can get the staff if they want to take shots at me. I don't give a damn because I don't care. I was here a lot longer than you, and I don't need your taking shots at me.
The next speaker is Roy Bleckard.
Since the mayor mentioned construction and square footage and how big a house is, why don't you mention about time materials versus labor on building a house? I bet you the labor and materials isn't 10 times over the cost, or the labor is not over 10 times the cost, or 20 times, or 100 times the cost of the labor and materials to do the project. But anyone that questions that has some sort of ill intent, or you have to make misrepresentations. I think I'm well aware of when and where the public meetings go. But I would like to say to Ms. Genevieve, your mayor has promised 9,432 times to come into my show and let's have a discussion about some of this stuff. 7 years, zip, zada, nothing. So you want to talk about discussions or cooperation? Sometimes you should look at the whole story that's going on. Who makes the promises, who makes the commitments, and who breaks them? And those that can sit up there and then on top of that sit up there in the dais and make, and I say defend it, false statements about members of the public Again, every one of you, including you, Mr. Cabrera, if you think I'm making this false statement, and you said members of the public that are opposing these murals, and I'm up here speaking, then you're including me. And I've told every one of you, and I told you again today, if you have a specific thing about me or you're saying it, use my name. Public figure, we're all in this. Because how am I supposed to differentiate between your comments that are going on here or anybody else? I can handle it because I've been around it. But how do you talk about the people that don't come here? How do you think they read it when they see this stuff or they hear that? What do you think they're going to think? Does that ever cross your mind when you're up there running these meetings?
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So with that, we move into council deliberation, if desired. And just real briefly, I don't see any other hands raised, but thank you as well for this proposal, Shane. Really appreciate it, and I like it's a little different, you know, with the abstract approach, and it looks really, really interesting, you know, the colors and everything, and of course the M. I think everybody always likes to see that there. So I really like it. You know, appreciate you as well for standing up, and I fully support this project as well. Any further comments or deliberation?
I'd like to answer the question. What is the difference between graffiti art and any one of you and your paintings? Or Shay, you can get up there and probably answer this.
Yeah, if you'd like Shane to
Yeah,
go ahead
you
and
can
come
up
back up.
since you're up there. What's the difference between graffiti art that I hear and your paintings?
Well, there's obviously the legal indications. Maybe the professional training has a lot to do with it. I'm sure. I'm sure there's a lot of opinions about that, but that's a kind of a gray area question. I'm sure also. Yeah, I'm not. I'd have to kind of probably be doing graffiti to really answer that correctly. So I'm not too sure if anyone else has a better answer.
I don't want to put you guys on the spot. I just had to ask that question because I've heard different stories, but thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, I'll try.
Thank
yes.
you. Okay.
Okay. So unless there's any further comments or deliberation, I'll entertain a motion to approve this mural by Shane Mitchell for West Bluff Park.
I motion to approve the mural by Shane Mitchell at West Bluff Park.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. We can go ahead and vote. That is approved as well. 3 yeses. Congratulations. And that brings us to our final item, which is H6, and I'll turn it over again to Director Bubnick.
Thank you, Mayor. The final proposal tonight is for the wrapping of 4 utility boxes at 4 different intersections from Miriam Krogman. I do want to just preface that with for utility boxes, we have.
Mayor, let the, for the minutes, can we reflect that Councilmember Marcus has left the dais at 8:14.
Okay. I know he's going to the restroom, but maybe we could take, if we could take just a brief, you know, like 5-minute break, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we'll go into a recess for now.
Thank you,
We'll be
Mayor.
right back. Thank you. Alrighty, so just a quick stretch break there, but we are back and we'll go ahead and pick up where we left off. My apologies for cutting off your presentation there, but go ahead and come on up and I'll turn it over to you.
Sorry, Mayor, we hadn't got to the presentation
Oh,
yet.
I'm sorry. Oh, yes, actually.
Yeah, Mayor, currently we don't have the city clerk.
That is
in
correct.
the well, we're going to go ahead and
Yeah, we have
Great.
Paul here.
Paul's here now.
We're in good hands. Okay, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, I'm sorry, Miriam. Well, just real quick, I wanted to mention our utility box wrap program. We have been working, PCS along with Public Works, identifying all the utility boxes. And we have over 300 in the city. So we have decided to focus on the large boxes that are at intersections. So those will be the first that we'll be tackling. And we are going to be doing those as a vinyl wrap rather than the artist painting directly on the boxes. And that is really just to for longevity and graffiti resistance, and so that they'll hold up better. So the next proposal in front of you is for 4 utility boxes. They will be wraps, but she's not requesting the funds for wrapping because the city will handle that. She will be requesting funding for the art. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much again for giving the space for artists to show you how we're thinking about a city and how we can contribute to positive imagery in the city. So my name is Miriam Krogman. I'm an artist, I'm an educator, I'm an entrepreneur. I have an art studio that has actually recently opened in Moreno Valley. And we're working with children and adults. We do sip and paint parties. We are working with kids with autism, for example. So we're trying to serve the city to help them de-stress and discover their talents, and support also future artists that we see are really, really talented, even small, to try to help them continue and discover techniques that's going to help them in maybe making a career out of that. So we were talking about involving the community. I personally, as an educator, would like to focus in Moreno Valley schools. So what I wanted to do was to work with all the schools that would need, beautification, and work with the students on making these murals. But this is something that we'll have to build and obviously work on, because the funds right now are for city property. But I just wanted the public to know that the artists are really interested in making sure that we're working, especially with the youth, because you've seen, for example, with Alexandra, the transformation. When somebody cares and gives you the tools to be the artist that you are, this is what comes out of that, right? Another thing I wanted to focus on is that giving us this opportunity actually allows us to hire people in the local community. Thanks to this type of grant, I've already hired 8 local people that are my art instructors and that go around and serve the community. So this is not a lost amount of money. Those are people that we hire to come and help us on the mural, and that also work with the community in different areas. So it's coming. We're working on a lot of projects to support the community in as many ways as we can. Yes, we had an opportunity to see whether we're going to have an sort of a public engagement. I said yes to all of those because this is what I do, but I just want also to highlight that this is not an easy thing to do. You don't just call the community and have them paint, because not everybody knows how to paint on a mural. It actually is work. And it's technical to involve the community, especially when it comes to safety. If we're gonna paint in the, on the street and all that stuff, so it actually takes works to involve the community. I do have the intention to do that, but that's because I'm used to it. This is something that I have done because I've been involved in the school system for a long time. So we are hiring. We're working with youth, and we deserve to be here as artists, because think about the world without art, right? It's just not happening. One of the things I want to do, though, is consult the community. What is it that you would like to do, that you would like to see? And so those are things that we have put in place and that are coming. But, hey, we had to try. This was the first trial run, right? So the projects I'm going to show you is something simple and quick. I just wanted to go through the motion, see how it works with you guys, and then bring in the bigger programs that I have, because I know that this is going to be an ongoing opportunity. All right. All right, so this was just to show you a little bit of the art. I was in the Riversider talking about what I do. I usually work on big formats between murals or actually, paintings. I tend to talk about culture. I tend to talk about social justice. I tend to talk about history. The mural that you see, let me see, I believe I have them in bigger. So this is a mural that I have done in Moreno Valley. Mayor Cabrera actually came and painted a little bit on that wall. We did invite high schoolers and local community. They came and they painted with us. But now we sort of had to fix a little bit some of that stuff. So there's work afterwards when you bring in the community, but they love it. And so the intention is to, as we all, build on these different murals in the city, is to make sure that people feel ownership and pride about Moreno Valley. So you'll see that in some of the art that I'm bringing up, I'm sort of pushing slogans like Moreno Valley saves, Moreno Valley reads, Moreno Valley acts, because I want the city to be known for its action and for the things that it does. So yes, we care about Moreno Valley very much, and especially when it comes to people seeing these images and messages as they go to and fro schoolwork on a daily basis. This is a Pacific Electric Trail. This is in Rancho Cucamonga, just to show you what the box can look like. Those ugly boxes, we're trying to put pictures on them at all sorts of corners, just to liven up the street as people pass by. This was a actual mural in Riverside. What we have done here is actually save a building. This was an historical building, one of the first stores in Riverside, and it was going to be destroyed. So, making that mural there actually helped them apply for grants for, what is it called? So this historical building sort of application. And so the lodge is now here and it's not going to move. And what we have done is study and meet with the community and talk about what's their history, what's their pride, and we brought it all up into these murals. So those are the things that, what artists can do when we study our community. I feel like I missed something. Let me go back real quick. No, okay. All right. Budget is very, very simple on this one because I'm doing it digitally. However, they have opportunities to do it also face to face. I think it's great. We'll also by that providing opportunities for local companies to be paid to beautify the city as well. So it's not just us. When we work as artists, we also involving all sorts of people in the community because we go and buy our materials from local people. When we hire the lifts and all that, we're paying companies to do that. So we're actually making the local community work as well. Anyway, we're on Alessandro Plaza, Eucalyptus and Heacock, Paris and Cottonwood, Paris and Alessandro. That's a little drop into the bucket of the 300 boxes that are out there. But my goal is to choose specific areas that have a history or that have a school and to project positive images in these junctions of the city. This one is by a church, and as you can see, I'm saying Moreno Valley cares. And I actually painted some of the locals right there, the line work. This is some of the work that I do. So I'm trying to bring local images and also making sure that I always launch a positive message about Moreno Valley. And if you like it, then I'll go around and I'll do more of those and project images and messages that the community feel is important. Sorry. This one is going to be by a school, and I'm asking this question: which type of hero will you become? I want the kids to see some of these messages and ask themselves, yeah, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? So those are some of the stuff. And at the bottom, I'm saying proud to grow up in Moreno Valley. Always. We're always going to project positive images and message to the city. This one is the Alessandro Plaza, and it's just, fresh. Thank you for shopping in Moreno Valley kind of stuff. We were talking about tourism, and maybe those are some of the stuff that we can bring up. I would like to make a game and talk about it and ask people to go around the city to find the boxes and find the messages, things like that. We can do scavenger hunts. There's a lot of stuff that we can bring in to, help make Moreno Valley fun. This one is by the library, and I say Moval Reads. We are engaging the community in being readers, and I'm saying all leaders are readers. When possible, obviously, right? And sometimes we don't have the possibility to be a reader, but that's one message among many. That's it, I think. Those are the 4 boxes. So they'll go around, and I'm open to suggestions also about places that you would feel would be important to project message into, and what kind of message should be projected. I'm always open to the community talking to me about that stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Miriam. And if you could stick around for just a second in case there's any questions from the council, I'll turn to my colleagues at this time for any questions.
I just think that you did a really good job with inclusion. I was hoping maybe you could find one of your subjects maybe in a wheelchair or it's some kind of, just to be more diverse and inclusive. But I think you did a really good job with capturing what we want to say, what we want our image to be, and as well as including a diverse population in your art. So thank you so much for bringing this to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as well, thank you for bringing this. I did not know, as I was going through the staff report and I saw some of the pictures, I had no idea, full disclosure, I did not know I was going to be included in the presentation, but it was really nice. I hope I didn't go outside of the lines too much and make you work a little bit more, but appreciate you letting the community, participate in that one. So, I love all these and just the concept, right? I know as much as many of us would probably want to see it hand painted, I know on vinyl, wrapped on these utility boxes, it's gonna just shine and pop real nice. And usually I don't say if I have a favorite, but I think that the superhero one is really just like it just draws you in. So this is amazing. I look forward to seeing this. I know I'm deliberating. We're in questions right now, but thank you so much for making this happen.
Thank you.
All right, and if there are no further questions, then we'll go ahead and move into public comment. Thank you again, Miriam. Appreciate it. Madam Clerk, do we have any requests to speak?
Yes, we do, Mayor. Pete Bleckard.
First off, to get a square, I'm not against their art. To a lot of people, it's pretty. To me, I could care less if it was there or not. I'm against the money, and make sure you understand that. But I didn't appreciate the people, the one sitting there next to the one that don't like me, and they're staring me down. I went over there to go to the bathroom, and he gets out there and gets into my face. You can ask the deputy out there. He starts getting in my face, telling me I'm a loser and art is the only thing, and they're, I guess they think they're gods. I don't know, at least that guy does. So he's trying, so we were talking, and then all of a sudden he comes at me, he gets right in my face and starts, that's a threat, because in my book, you can have a discussion, but when you get right up nose to nose, that means it's on. And then I wait for him to throw a punch. I might not be as good as I used to be, but I'm good at one time. And I'm not as scared. So if that's your thugs, God, that you want to send out there and straighten out this, that's up to you. But don't think you're going to scare me. So because he's another one of your Moreno Valley graduates, perfect people. If you didn't graduate from Moreno Valley and you had to go to school elsewhere, we're trash. Understand, God. I understand what you're coming from. So at least speak up and be man up and say what it is. I'm not afraid to say man up and sit there, but don't send people out there to be thugs that think they're going to run the city, because I ain't afraid of them. So go ahead, do it again, and we'll see how it goes. So don't tell everybody that I'm against art. I don't care about art. That's their thing, do it. I'm against the money. The money is the whole thing. But if we're going to get into thuggery, let me know, because that's the way it used to be out here back years ago, and when the biker bars and everything was out here, and that's the way we did business. If that's the way you want to do it, God, let me know.
The next speaker is Roy Bleckert.
Since it was mentioned by the presenter about kids and working in the street, no, we can't do that. I think I'm pretty much familiar before all this cleanup stuff about this project called the Moreno Valley Kids Cleanup. We worked against the streets and everything else. How many problems? 0. But I'll tell you one reason why that project ended. Julie Reyes was working for Waste Management, and we could dump the trash over there after we were done. She left, and they wanted a renewal, so I asked somebody sitting up there on the dais, hey, can we get this done? Yeah, they need that. You know which finger I got. And again, I don't care even if it's my dad or anywhere else. If the people you want to represent this city and you want to fund are out there threatening any elderly person for any reason, that's on your conscience. You're voting for this. You're voting for the exact people that are doing this. And this isn't the first time this has happened, and you know it. And it continues to happen. So how, these are your presenters and your supporters that are coming up here on this and other agenda items. So let's get this straight. If you are going to vote for this project, now that you've heard everything that went on, are you going to continue to vote and sanction? Call them fees or taxes or whatever you want. The money you collected from citizens of the United States to pull these kind of projects and this kind of stuff. Then proudly make that vote and vote for it. So we know exactly where we stand. You're watching it in live and living color, as they said. You can stand on principle. You can stand on doing what's right. You can do 180-degree opposite, every one of you. So go ahead and have your deliberations, make your discussions, and put your vote on the record.
That concludes public comment, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. So that'll bring us next to council deliberation if desired. Is there any request for comments for this particular mural or utility box wrap? Okay. No, yeah, I think I said everything during the questions part, but 100% support this as well. So at this time, I will entertain a motion by the council to approve the utility box wraps at the 4 intersections by Miriam Krogman.
I'll go ahead and move that we approve this.
And I'll second the motion. We can go ahead and vote. And that gets approved with 3 yeses as well. Congratulations and thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and move into reports. Just one second, make sure we don't have any other items on H. No, that was the last one. So item I brings us to city council reports. And we'll go ahead and we have the first one, which is for RCTC, and I'll be giving that update. Very brief update here on the meeting that happened November 27th. Tonight I'm providing updates from the RCTC Budget and Implementation Committee meeting that was held on November 27th. The committee heard a presentation regarding Senate Bill 125, formula-based funding for the Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program and Zero Emission Transit Capital Program. The committee recommended that the commission approve the funding recommendations. The committee also recommended that the commission adopt the commission's 2024 state and federal legislative platform. That concludes my report on the last RCTC Budget and Implementation Committee meeting. Next up, we have a report from WRCOG from Councilmember Baca, Santa Cruz.
Tonight, I'm giving an update for the Western Riverside Council of Governments joint meeting of the Executive Committee held on December 4th, 2023. Items covered at the WRCOG Executive Committee meeting include an update on the EPA's Climate Pollution Reduction Grant, funding opportunity. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has allocated funding to 117 entities nationally to prepare preliminary studies that will be used to identify GHG emissions reduction strategies. San Bernardino COG is leading the preparation of the initial planning study for the Riverside and San Bernardino area with assistance from SCAG, AQMD, WRCOG, and other stakeholders. Unfortunately, this grant cannot be pursued by individual municipalities. This concludes my report.
All right, and next we have our third and final report from Councilmember Marquez for the Riverside County Regional Conservation Authority.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight I'll be reporting on the Regional Conservation Authority items covered at the RCA Board of Directors meeting December 4th, 2023, include the status report on the purchases of property that they purchased in the calendar year 2023. 33 parcels were acquired, adding approximate 1,038 acres to the reserve. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next up, item I2, Employee Association report, and we have no report today. And to the most exciting part of our meeting, I3, the City Manager's report.
All right, thank you, Mayor, council members. So just 4 items tonight. Number one is there was a speaker that spoke about some of the affordable housing project and trying to restrict that for minority residents. And unfortunately, a lot of these projects, they are staggered from different grant funding. A lot of it is from federal funding, and sometimes they have to go to the state, also the county government. And unfortunately, a lot of these fundings, they do not allow restrictions on affordable housing pertaining just for residency. So that's item one. Item two is just an invitation for the residents on December 18th at 3 o'clock. We are going to dedicate the new infield soccer field at the March Field Park. As you recall, several months ago, the City Council approved the largest improvement for all of our parks, a $6 million allocation. So all of our parks are getting some type of upgrade. So this is actually one of our first projects that we're going to be dedicating. So please do come out for that event. Number three is I just want to welcome our new Economic Development and Housing Director, Cruz Esparza. He's sitting back there. Cruz. And so I'm quite excited because that kind of lessened my load. But Cruz has been in local government for over 30 years in cities of Chino, San Bernardino, and Redlands. Has been very instrumental in really developing those cities in the economic development field. He's also a veteran of the Air Force. So we welcome Cruz to our team. And then lastly, a couple days ago, the Merino Valley, we celebrated our 39th birthday. Our birthday is December 3rd. We were incorporated December 3rd, 1984. So to Merino Valley, happy birthday. And that concludes the City Manager report for tonight.
Thank you very much, City Manager, for that report. And that brings us now to closing comments from the council. And we'll start with Councilmember Baca, Santa Cruz.
Thank you. I also wanted to speak about some parks events that, some city events that our Parks Department put on this month. I was joined by my son and grandson at our snow day. It was a great improvement from last year. The children had hard time getting down the hill. There was a lot of scooting down the hill. We have corrected that. That was very fast, so we did a little bit too slow, we did a little bit too fast. Hopefully we'll get it right next year because my grandson only went down one time. He said, too fast. And, but we did have a wonderful time. So many residents. The timing of the event to put each session for 45 minutes, followed by an opportunity to take a picture with Bernie on the stage with a nice background. The carnival style games by on the end of the event, perfectly executed. I mean, I shouldn't have expected anything less, but I mean, I was blown away by how well executed both the snow day and then it moved right into the tree lighting. And once again, you were successful in making that phone call to North Pole, getting that guy down here. So thank you for bringing Santa Claus to Moreno Valley. It's a wonderful event for our residents. And I really appreciate all the work that goes into bringing these types of events for our residents in our city. If you didn't catch the special presentations earlier in the meeting, we were able to see the little libraries, the little free libraries that are going up throughout the city. I once again renew my request to add a library commissioner for District 1 to join the Library Commission, who was here at the event along with the Southwest Carpenters. And then finally, I did want to talk a little bit about one of the residents did speak about the protesting that happened in front of Vista Heights Middle School back in 1997. And instead of listening to the protesters, the district decided to do a SLAP suit. And a SLAP suit is a strategic lawsuit against public participation. The district sued us rather than listen to our complaints. Here we are now. Those complaints were valid. Those complaints are costing $135 million to our school district, and I hope we're not moving in the same direction because currently I believe our mayor has a SLAP suit, a strategic lawsuit against public participation by his frivolous restraining order against one of our residents, and it requires that they cannot attend snow day, they cannot attend city events, they cannot come to the podium, and I'm hoping that it ends very soon. So with that, thank you very much. Happy holidays and good night.
All right, and next up, we have closing comments from Councilmember Marquez.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to touch on that tree lighting ceremony. The snow thing, that was all great. What got me was last year we had, or the years prior to that, we've had like 100, 150 chairs. People were standing up. This year we put out 300 chairs, Brian? Oh, 500, and there were still people standing up. This tells me that these events that we have like this, that the community is getting involved and they want to come out and celebrate. So hopefully next year we'll have maybe 700 chairs and keep on going. And that's what I want to thank the residents, but mainly Jeremy and your staff. Awesome. Mailboxes, it's being brought up again. I've had some complaints about break-ins. What I want to do is not a study session, but within staff internally, talk about how we can prevent these break-ins, and then we'll bring it out to the city. I've had a lot of people call me and give me suggestions, but I want to go through certain things. I just want the public to know that we are going to be looking at mailboxes. And I'm not going to propose anything tonight. I just want to give the information out, the FYIs, that we are going to be working on that. I will be working on that with staff. And there's some good suggestions that came out. The murals today, awesome. I can't wait till we start looking at these things painted. Because I'll tell you one thing, Moreno Valley is going to be on the map because you get these TV stations out here and show what we're doing in the city. I guarantee it'll be other cities doing the same thing. So we can get the media involved Channel 5 and them to come out when we get these done. So that's a plus for the city. This Friday, RTA at 10 o'clock in the morning is going to do the ribbon cutting for the Vine station or depot in Riverside, right next to the train station, the what do they call it, Metrolink. They have been working on this for the past 10 years, and it's finally coming in that we have a ribbon cutting for that main depot for RTA. So it's 10 o'clock this Friday on Vine Street. One more thing I want to talk about is fire and police. We get a lot of complaints up here about we don't have enough policemen or we don't have enough fire equipment. I was going to propose something tonight, but there's a lot more information. Again, I want to let the public know that we are going to be working on this, or I am, with staff and fire and police, on getting more equipment out there. Another rescue squad, another ladder truck. We got to look at certain things. You need 6 per squad, and Cal Fire right now, they're having problems with personnel, meaning hiring people. So we got to look at that. We don't want to burn out our firemen right now and having this overtime, but I want to work with staff and my colleagues and look into improving more fire equipment and personnel for the next coming year. I know in our budget, I believe it's 24, 25, we'll be doing a lot of that. So I want to start on that now, so it won't be we won't drop it right on us at the last minute. Police, we need more policemen, and we know that. So what I'd like to do, again, FYI, is work on how we going to budget for more policemen. The recession's coming. Sales is going to drop. Sales tax is going to drop. So we need to find a way to get around this. We're getting some more hotels built. That's going to be great. We'll have some more TOT money. Maybe we can, I don't know, taxes, raise the gas, I don't know, 5 cents or something, just so we have money to raise to purchase more public safety equipment so we can be a safe city. We are safe now, but we gotta worry about the population increase, and that's what we'll be working on too. So I just want to get that out to the public that we are working on it. We will be working on it. Thank you.
Alrighty. So just for the record, Councilmember Baca Santa Cruz is leaving the meeting and is absent. Do we still have a quorum, technically?
Technically, no. We don't have a quorum, and it is 8:54, and Councilmember Baca has left the dais.
Okay, for no reason given for that. So,
but Mr. Mayor, if you want,
we're not taking any action on anything.
Off
right?
the record, you can still provide your comments.
Okay, awesome. Just glad we don't have any more votes that we have to take care of. So yeah, for my closing comments, I'll try to keep it brief so we can get out of here by 9 p.m. And just a couple things. Well, I was hoping that the council member would stay, but she left now. So, she had said a couple things. She brought my name up, and I think it's pretty clear that, I wish I could say different, but she doesn't mind, harm or things like that coming at me or my family. Since being elected on the council, I think she's proposed to censure me, to take away my mayoral powers, and then maybe to change the meetings, but she hasn't proposed anything else that I can recollect in her over 2 years now of being a council member. So I wish, like I've said before, that there was more of a professional relationship and we could at least communicate, but the only time that she mentions me or anything publicly is at the council meetings, and it's usually to try to attack me. So, that's her approach, and that's how she wants to do things. But again, I wish it was more cordial. I can talk to any other council member on this dais except for her, unfortunately. I wish she would use her time and her energy on this dais to actually propose things that are good for the community, instead of the only things in her 2 years are to attack me personally. So I hope that she will listen to this, or if she's still outside and listening, I really do hope that we could change this relationship and this approach that you have toward me, because we could get a lot more things done if we actually collaborated together. I know we agree on a lot of things, we disagree on some things, but let's make this more productive instead of you constantly trying to attack me and make me look bad. So just a couple other things. Of course, I hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody ate a lot, maybe not too much, so you didn't put on too many pounds over the Thanksgiving weekend, but I hope everybody had a nice time with their family. Also was able to attend Student of the Month this morning, so that is a monthly thing. Shout out to, alongside Councilmember Marquez, he was there as well. Really powerful stories. Every time, they bring in a different cohort of Students of the Month, and you just, the stories that they share, it's always unique, and you never know what you're gonna hear, but it's really powerful to not only sometimes see the students break down because of overwhelming emotions, but even the principals, the teachers, they break down and cry because the students, they've made such a big impact on the students, and sometimes they don't hear those things until the event at Student of the Month. So that's really powerful, and congratulations to all the Students of the Month for today. Also, thank you to staff. Telephone Town Hall went absolutely amazing last Thursday, November 30th. So I hope, if you were able to tune in, or maybe you watched it afterwards, I hope you were able to get a few updates on the projects happening around town. And, really appreciate everybody that participated and everybody that helped out with that as well. Snow day and tree lighting ceremony, that was already mentioned, but it went really well. Jeremy, all of staff, hats off to you for making that a success. It was my first year. The mayor kind of presides over the tree lighting ceremony. It was my first year, so I was a little nervous, but everything went well. It's all about the kids at the end of the day. It's all about the children, making them happy. My son was there as well. So the kids were absolutely ecstatic about it. So hats off to staff, and thank you to the community for joining us for that. Fire department, Spark of Love toy drive is coming up. I believe that's this Saturday. Right? This Saturday at Walmart over on Moreno Beach from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So if you're listening and you want to participate in that, I know that they'll be accepting toys and things like sports equipment that is, packaged up and all that. So I hope to make it. I have like 3 events that day, but hopefully I'll be able to stop by as well. So thank you to CAL FIRE and the chief for doing that as well. Murals, congratulations again. Definitely look forward to seeing all those painted and completed around the city as well. And before I conclude, I did receive some requests, and just kind of thinking, because New Year, of course, is January 1st, and January 2nd, this coming year, just so happens to fall on a meeting day. So as is, the city council will have a meeting on January 2nd. Which is in a few weeks. So just kind of, taking all that into consideration, and a lot of people are going to be out of the office, and it's really complicated logistically. Want to make a motion right now to add an item to our next city council meeting. And actually, let me just read it off of my notes here. So I move to direct the city clerk to prepare a staff report and any requisite documents for the December 19th council meeting to cancel the January 2nd, 2024 regular city council meeting. So I make that motion, and seeking a second on that.
City Attorney?
Well, technically it's not official action, but I think the two of you are giving direction right now to the city manager, who has the discretion to make that determination.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. That's direction to
the
look
city
into
manager.
canceling, yes.
Okay, thank you for that. So with that, just right before 9 p.m., we'll go ahead and adjourn today's council meeting at 8:59, and I hope you all have a good night. We'll see you on December 19th.